thank you so much for joining us this morning as we do this one more time.
It is Friday the 5th of July on a morning that not only marks the end of this show, but it marks the beginning of a whole lot to celebrate across our Newshub family today, from AM to the team on newshub.co.nz and Newshub live at 6 tonight. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's very special to have your company.
It is, and it's going to be a special show. We're going to truck on through a whole lot of memories, a whole lot of funny bits. We've got some serious interviews as well, but we're going to have a good time today, aren't we?
Yeah, we wanted it to be a little bit business as usual, because what we pride ourselves on is bringing you the news, connecting you with what's going on in the world, and so we still want to do that, but we are, of course, looking back. And thank you so much for your feedback that is already coming through, all of the support. We will read as much of it out today as we can, and if we can't read it out, we will definitely be reading it. I got one message from Jamie. Jamie, you're a regular viewer. Jamie has taken annual leave today, so she doesn't need to stop and go off to work. She can watch the whole show. Really appreciate that.
That is commitment. That is commitment. I mean, there have been so many people messaging us saying we're getting up early, we're going to watch the whole 3 hours. So it's wonderful to have you with us this morning for the last 3 hours of AM. It's awesome to have you with us. Even my sister and my little niece, Asha, down in Ashburton watching us this morning as well. So good morning to you, good morning to all of you who have got up super early so you can catch every last little bit. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Absolutely. It speaks volumes to just how amazing you are at home to have you with us every morning and to speak to you, to have your company. But you are amazing. You are amazing at home. So thank you so much.
And your support is what has made this show.
Absolutely.
All right, coming up this morning, there are just a few hours to go before the polls close in the UK, and what is expected to be a landslide election victory for Labour. We're live to London just after 7.
Our political panel joins us for one final time. Nationals' Erica Stanford and Labour's Willie Jackson. They'll go toe-to-toe in the studio just before 7:30.
A prediction that 40,000 job losses are on the horizon as the economic pain sharpens. ASB's chief economist Nick Tuffley breaks it down for us just before 7.
And as you know, today is our final show, and while we're sad, we're going to celebrate. We're going to have plenty of highlights for you this morning as well. We're going to have lots of fun, and some familiar faces are going to join us here in the studio. Stay with us for all of that. Right now, here is Michael for your news.
Morning, it's 1 minute after 6. Millions of Brits have headed to the polls in the UK general election. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was all smiles as he arrived with his wife at a polling station in North Yorkshire. But the results may not be to his liking. It's widely predicted his Tory party are heading for a crushing defeat, ending 14 years in power. Late polling suggesting Labour's Sir Keir Starmer will be the next PM. Voting closes at 9 AM New Zealand time. People remain unaccounted for following a house fire in Fiordland on Thursday morning. One person died in the Manapoti blaze, which crews responded to just after 3:30 AM. It's unclear how many people may have been at the property, and police say inquiries are ongoing to locate them. An investigation into what caused the blaze continues. Hawke's Bay Regional Council is refusing to comment after it was announced a group of furious Wairoa residents are planning to take them to court. The group of residents and insurance companies are looking at taking a class action against the council for its failure to act quickly and save the town from flooding. They're angry the council failed to dig a channel in the Wairoa River Bar, something that would have let rising river levels empty faster into the sea. The town's mayor, Craig Little, says the council is yet to apologise to residents over its river mouth management. The Cayman Islands and Mexico are bracing for the arrival of Hurricane Beryl. The hurricane's already left a deadly trail of destruction through the Caribbean. 10 people have been killed, but that number is expected to rise as communications are restored to affected islands. The storm's bringing winds of up to 210 kilometres per hour with heavy rain and huge swells. To sport now, and Novak Djokovic has struggled but survived a wild card scare to advance to the next round of Wimbledon with a 6-3, 6-4, 5-7, 7-5 victory. Djokovic was on course for a straight sets win when he broke Jacob Fernley's serve midway through the third set. However, the 22-year-old roared back to win the set. Djokovic responded in the fourth, increasing his intensity and gaining the crucial break in the 11th game to triumph. The Serbian is chasing his 8th Wimbledon title. And the Rabbitohs have continued their mid-season revival with a 32-16 win over Parramatta and recorded their 5th straight victory to jump ahead of the Warriors on the ladder. A repeat chocolate thief has found themselves behind the wrong kind of bars following a spate of thefts from Auckland supermarkets. The man, who clearly has a taste for Whittaker's, faces multiple shoplifting charges, including one incident where he nearly ran off with over 200 chocolate blocks from a grocery store in Papakura. He's also accused of stealing around 250 Whittaker's bars worth more than $1,000. He will appear in Papakura District Court on Monday. And that's the very latest from Newshub. It's 4 minutes after 6.
That is incredible.
Wow.
We have been sent emails and stuff, people going, why is there chocolate so cheap on Facebook Marketplace? You get an assorted, kind of lucky dip mix of 10 chocolate bars. Maybe that's how they found this person.
There's a black market for chocolate?
Yeah.
Goodness.
I can see why. I mean, it's, delicious.
I mean, it is delicious, but yeah.
I've seen it happen in person. Someone with a full trolley of chocolate going through the self-checkout aisles. Yeah,
Really?
Twice, actually.
And not paying?
Yeah, not paying.
Wow.
Yeah, and just running,
What
and
is that
obviously
thing?
security
Is
running
there
after
like
them.
a chocolate crime ring going on?
I don't know.
we'll have
You
to
call it a
find out
black
about
market?
that.
Would you call it a brown market?
Chocolate market. Now, election going on in the UK. They have just a few hours left to go and cast their votes. So what happens is they can vote up until 10 p.m. over there, and then the main broadcasters, that's ITN, BBC, Sky, they've all got together with a research company. They do this with each election, and then they put out an exit poll almost straight away. So they go to 133 polling stations. They ask people after they've cast their vote, who did you vote for? They look at a range of demographics. So you get a pretty good sense in that exit poll of where the election is heading. That's going to happen at around 9 or just after 9 this morning. So keep an eye out on newshub.co.nz, but we're going to have coverage for you in the lead up, of course, throughout the show.
And all the predictions at the moment are sort of landslide Labour over there because of pretty much thanks to Nigel Farage. I mean, it was going to probably be a change of government anyway, but Nigel Farage and his Reform Party, it split the vote on the right, and that meant that Labour can just take it up the middle and off they go. And so it does seem like there's going to be a landslide victory for Labour over there. It will end 14 years of the Conservatives being in power. So that's quite a big change, isn't it? Because the rest of Europe, like France and stuff, they're going to the right, whereas the UK, they're like, we're sick of the Tories, we're going to head to Labour. But who knows, anything can happen, right? It's an election.
We'll have the latest for you just after 7. Right now, here's your weather.
The weather, brought to you by nature. Turn it to power by Meridian.
A ridge of high pressure blankets most of Aotearoa today, bringing clear skies for many. So a cold morning for the bottom of the country. Cloud and showers develop this afternoon though. Oti-Poti, a high of 12 degrees. Cloud increases in the morning for the west coast of Te Waipounam in the South Island. Scattered showers possible too, with the Milford Sound reaching a high of just 9. Severe frosts for the Canterbury region this morning, but a fine day with light winds during the day. Ōtautahi, Christchurch, your high is 10 degrees. A cold morning for the bottom of Te Ika Maui, the North Island. Maybe the odd shower for Te Papaioia, Palmerston North, and a high of 12 degrees for you. The grass will be crunchy this morning further north too. Mostly sunny during the day, but yes, a cold morning. Waiorua, overnight low of -3. It's a fine day on the other side of the North Island. Showers for most of the day for Gisborne, a high of 12 degrees for you there. And the top of the country is fine. Morning frosts for sheltered places with cloud and showers arriving this evening. Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, your high is 13 degrees. All right, to your weekend weather now, and on Saturday, showers become widespread for most of the country, clearing for some later in the day. And then on Sunday, it's mainly fine apart from some showers in the deep south and the Manawatu.
Thanks very much, Michael. 6:08. Recommendations have been put forward for schools to limit children's screen time. Kiwi children are among the highest in the world for their screen usage, with excessive screen use being linked to a host of negative health outcomes. The recommendations offer advice for schools on how to keep the benefits of technology in the classroom without overexposure to tamariki. AUT Population Health Professor Scott Duncan joins us this morning. Hey, Scott.
Morning.
So firstly, how widely are screens used in schools, and from what age are we talking about?
They're prevalent. They're through most schools now, even starting in early childhood. It's very difficult to know exactly how schools are using screens because it varies even from classroom to classroom. But we do know that it's all across the country, and I think one of the things we're interested in is putting some thought around how they're best used in schools, so it's not just basically a free-for-all and where kids spend most of their day on a screen.
How excessive is excessive? How much are we talking? And I imagine it varies for age groups.
It does vary, yes. I mean, especially for under 2s or 2 to 5s, for under 2s, there's no real need for them to have screens at all. Because their brains are so rapidly developing at that point. As they get older, of course, kids need to be exposed to some screens. Screens aren't all bad. There's many positive things with screens, but it's the excessive use, going sort of 4, 5, 6 hours a day, that starts to lead towards some negative outcomes that we've seen in the data.
Are you seeing schools use screens for that length of time?
Some schools, yes, and not all screens are identical either. Some screen use is better than other screen use, as you probably imagine. But what we don't want to see is that kids are spending 5, 6 hours at school on a screen, then coming home to another 5 or 6 hours. So in other words, there's very little time off a screen. So I think that's why we've been working quite a lot with parents to work on home time screen use. Now I think it's time just to shift to the schools as well.
Are you talking about screen time in terms of sitting on a laptop and writing up an assignment or using Excel, working on a spreadsheet, or are you talking about videos and internet-based screen time?
Yeah, well, certainly that passive screen time is, I guess, the worst kind of screen time in terms of positive benefits for kids. There's other screens that are necessary, such as you say, working on a PowerPoint. But in saying that, there's evidence that actually using written homework, for example, can actually be better than screen-based homework. Your brain works differently when you're writing with a pen. It thinks and it remembers things more. And I think we've shifted a little bit away from that, probably post-COVID. I mean, we've had to do that through COVID. But I think that maybe we've lost a little bit of our understanding that actually it's quite good for kids to actually use their pen and paper as well.
It helps with the memorising and that sort of thing as well. Are you going to, as a result of this, give guidelines, quite specific guidelines to schools about the number of hours that they should be using screens in class?
We've tried to limit the numbers because it does vary and certain schools like to do things a little bit differently. We don't want to be too prescriptive. Probably the one thing that might jump out the most is that we do recommend that for primary schools, it's up to a third of the day on screen. So it's not, and that may be a bit challenging for some schools. But again, I think it's just bringing that understanding that things don't have to be on screens. It's an efficient way of teaching, but it's not the only way of teaching.
This might be outside of the remit of the study, but along the way, did you come across any examples of where that screen time had been potentially used for online bullying or exploitation of any of the students who were using it?
It's a huge issue, especially in high school, secondary school. And I think we see a lot of negative associations with well-being and screen use, and I think a lot of that is through social media in adolescence. Cyberbullying, as you say, dependence on sort of external validation for people's self-confidence using social media, that sort of thing. So I think it's important not to sort of lump all screens in together. There are some screen time behaviours that are a lot more problematic than others, and social media is probably one of them, especially for secondary school kids.
We know that outside of class that there are those negative health impacts, particularly around social media. But are you saying that there is evidence that that kind of cyberbullying and exploitation is potentially going on inside our classrooms?
I don't know if we have the evidence to say how prevalent that is. I know that obviously we've seen instances through the media of that happening. It tends to be outside of school, so while the links are in school, the bullying often happens outside of the classroom. But there are instances, yes, isolated instances where it has happened inside the classroom.
There are partnerships between tech companies and the Ministry of Education and schools to provide technology or help with resources, and I guess from their perspective that's a win-win. For the school gets the resource and the technology company gets children used to their technology and using it. Do you think that there needs to be any research, or do you have any concerns around that relationship and whether it could be used for negative consequences from a technology company?
I think that those partnerships are really great because we do need technology in schools. So these recommendations aren't saying that we shouldn't have technology in schools. It needs to be that kids need to be fluent in digital communication. It's just really paying attention to how much they're using it. So I think, you know, it's very easy to look at this and say, hey, we're sort of slagging off screens and that we should be just going back to the 80s. But it's not really about that. It's just about making sure we're aware of the evidence behind how much we should be doing and what sort of screens we should be using. So I don't see that as being so much of an issue, those partnerships. I think they can be really beneficial for both the school and the agency, but we just need to be aware of how much they're using it in school.
Have you been in touch with the Education Minister?
We have had some support from the Education Ministry on this, yes, and I think there'll be a statement hopefully being released that does support this. We've had support from the Paediatric Society, from Brainwave Trust, a number of other agencies who are standing behind this, because in the end it's really just common sense. I think most of us are aware that we're not quite in control of our screen usage for kids, and this is just another step to try and get us aware of that.
Thank you very much for your time. That's AUT Population Health Professor Scott Duncan.
Thanks, Mel. Up next, our final reporter roundup, but not from around the country. It'll be from the couch. We'll have that next. Kia ora, good morning, welcome back to AM. That was some credits from Sunrise, which was on air from 2007 to 2010. How good? A little bit of a throwback there. Now, there are three people who play an integral part of our show every single morning, getting out and about to bring us the latest news. But that's not all they do. They're also producers. They chase interviews for us, they write notes for us, they fill in at last minute in other roles where there's sickness or people can't come in. They're reporters, but we like to call them the super subs. They can turn their hand at anything. Now, you often see them in our Brady Bunch squares. You'll see that on your screen from across the country, but today a little something special because they're joining us on the couch. AM reporters Emma Olsen, Mitch Redmond and James Fleury. It does feel a little bit weird not having you in the Brady Bunch squares.
I know, it is odd, but it's nice to be here.
I like it.
It's great to have you with us, though.
We can't just cut you off here. Thanks, Mitch. Bye.
Billy and I enjoyed it because this morning we got to walk in and we were like, mate, there's actually people to talk to, and I'm sure Mitch feels the same way. It was fantastic.
It's hard. Usually I'm half asleep when I turn up to work in the morning. I'm a bit awake now, so.
Yeah, you've got to turn the lights on and undo the alarm and set up everything yourself.
Turn the infomercials off.
They're usually
But we
blaring,
love
aren't
them.
they?
We love them.
So thanks for coming in. We want to sort of get you to share, I guess, your time on AM, because you've been with AM for ages and behind the scenes and stuff like that. Maybe some of your memorable moments. James, we'll start with you. I mean, you joined the team last year from Today FM, and you know you've come in leaps and bounds, and you've done some fantastic stuff. Have you got some cool memories, some favourite stories, maybe stuff from behind the scenes?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest story I got to cover when I first started was the Loafers Lodge fire, and that was just a huge story to jump right into. I think I did about 100 live TV crosses that day. I was, to be honest, I was a bit of a deer in the headlights when I first started on television. I was quite nervous. I really stuttered a lot, but I was able to find my feet there, but it was also covering a story which was huge and being able to learn how to quickly news gather. And when you have about 15, 20 minutes before live crosses, you really learn how to act quickly. You've got to go talk to the fire crews, you've got to call police, and then you've got to get in touch with people who are in buildings, and then you've got to inform the public. And also learning how to digest all that information as well when you are being told, okay, 4 bodies have just been recovered. That is also a lot to learn to digest, but I was so lucky that I had my friend Billy there with me, a wonderful cameraman, and he helped me and just made me feel at ease, and we were a team and we did it together. So for me, working with Billy and working with all you guys, especially Billy too, I was able to learn and grow, and it was really good. Yeah.
Well said. He is a legend, isn't he? Not just a cameraman. He's a counsellor. He's everything. He's a producer.
Because they can be emotional stories, particularly, obviously, for the people actually going through it. But, it's a lot to digest. So.
Emma, what about you?
It would have been the day before my birthday, year before last, when there was the downtown Auckland shooting. We, obviously with breaking news, you don't know what's about to happen, and we'd had a planned cross to go down to the Cloud and do a fun one on the FIFA Women's World Cup, the Football World Cup. So we were about to play some football, getting ready for an exciting, fun story, and then all of a sudden I get a call from Andrew, our producer, back in the office, and he's like, I think there's something going on down on Queen Street, can you go have a look? So we quickly park, and I run up while Tom, my cameraman, is getting everything ready, and I run up there, and then I see all these construction workers running out of the building, and I was like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't actually see anything up on Queen Street happening, but there's all these construction workers. And then I asked one of them, I was like, why are you guys all here? And they were like, oh, apparently there's someone in the building with a gun. And as soon as I say that, I call my producer back, I'm like, it's real, and then hang up, call my talent that I was supposed to be interviewing for the football. Sorry, we're gonna have to cancel. And then straight away get my phone out and start filming myself because my cameraman hadn't made it in time. So a lot of the first shots, even with the police arriving, because I was there before police got there, were just filmed on my phone. And then we just get up and we go live straight away, and I think we're on air for 6 hours that day. So it was a lot to be thrown into. No one can really prepare you for that until you're in it, but it was an incredible experience to learn and grow in.
You did a really good job that day as well. That was my third day hosting AM, just filling in for Ryan being away, and you did a fantastic job this morning, so you should be super proud on that. Mitch, what about you?
Yeah, it's been crazy, Lloydie, 2.5 years, and it's all sort of coming to an end now. But yeah, it's been funny sort of going through all the memories, and it's like we've actually packed so much into those 2.5 years. I think probably the big one for me was not in Christchurch, but Cyclone Gabrielle, with the B team that went in afterwards, after everyone had been there for those initial few days, and just never seen anything like it. Just the scale of how big those floods were that went through all that farmland. And then, of course, there was the Port Hills fires last year as well. And fortunately, they weren't as bad as 2017, but it was just a real case of those mornings, like, is this going to kick off again, sort of thing. So, and then I guess more of a light-hearted one, but Sail GP. I've got my red and black eye patch on all the time, but it's just fantastic to see Christchurch turning it on like that, and it sucks that it's gone, but yeah, good on the Dolphins. They'll be sweet, I think. You have done some exceptional work, all of you actually, and you do stuff for the 6 p.m. news, and you work at weekends, and you do stuff and go beyond. And let's talk about your next steps, because this is the last day and you've had to think about your future. James, you've got a particularly interesting choice to make.
Yeah, so I'm tossing up between 2 amazing options. The first one is a full language immersion for 1 year in Spain. I've always, it's a bit random, but I've always kind of wanted to go do it. I've wanted to go on an adventure. I've wanted to become bilingual. I think it's important. And I wanted to embrace a whole new culture. My mum's from Southern California, so Latin culture is a big part of living in Southern California. So being able to speak Spanish would be a great asset. And just learning about a new culture and embracing it is so awesome, especially when you live in New Zealand, which is quite isolated. So I'm 24, I feel like it's the perfect opportunity. And then there's another job that's popped up a bit closer to home, which is awesome. It just popped up in the last couple of days, which I hadn't really considered, so we're just tossing up between the 2, but they're both really exciting. Do
the Spanish, then you'll be able to talk with Billy, because Billy can speak Spanish. That's probably why you're doing it.
And I'm too scared to talk to him in Spanish at the moment, so it would be a great opportunity.
Just go. Good luck with that, whichever option you choose. Emma, what about you? Where are you off to? What are you doing?
She's jumping across the ditch. I couldn't give up the early morning alarms just yet, so I've been given the opportunity to go work on the Today Show at 9 News in Sydney.
Oh, nice.
So she's going to become a Sydney gal.
That will suit you so well. I think you'll fit in really well with Sydney. You'll be, well, good luck for that.
Good fun, good adventure.
Mitch, what are you up to?
Yeah, I'm off to ZB on Monday, actually. So I'm going from 3 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, doing a bit of setup producing there. So I think people think when we finish the show at 9 o'clock, that's us, but we sort of go into setting up the next show. So similar gig over there with ZB and Hosking's team. So looking forward to it. It'll be cool.
I'm very lucky to have you.
You are all assets, whatever you end up doing. So thank you very much for all the work you've done with us, and thanks for coming in the studio. Go, and I know you can't actually put your feet up because you're doing a hard mahi this morning. So go and keep doing your hard mahi. We appreciate you coming in, and we appreciate all of your work.
And just a shout out again to reiterate, Andrew behind the scenes, who writes our news and is 100%. In charge of the team. You do a brilliant job, and the presenters is the news presenters we've had through the years. Bernadine, thinking of you today. Aurini filled in, and of course lovely Michael and Nikki and Izzy and
Emma even filled in once.
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good on you. Those are our reporters here at AM, Emma Olsen, Mitch Redmond and James Fleury.
Up next, the 6:30 news, and then we take a look back at some of our best bloopers over the years. Do we want to do that?
Absolutely.
Stay with us.
So what we gonna do? Light up the sky. Okay, you know I told you, girls.
AM, fueled by Wild Bean Cafe.
Good, welcome back to AM. Lovely to have you with us this morning. Thanks to our partner as well, Wild Bean Cafe. Just a little after 6:30. Here is your news with the wonderful Michael.
At the Māori at 6:31, millions of Brits have headed to the polls in the UK general election. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was all smiles as he arrived with his wife at a polling station in North Yorkshire. But the results may not be to his liking. It's widely predicted his Tory party are heading for a crushing defeat, ending 14 years in power. Late polling suggesting Labour's Sir Keir Starmer will be the next PM. Voting closes at 9 o'clock New Zealand time this morning. People remain unaccounted for following a house fire in Fiordland on Thursday morning. One person died in the Manapodi blaze, which crews responded to just after 3:30 a.m. It's unclear how many people may have been at the property, but police say inquiries are ongoing to locate them. An investigation into what caused the blaze is also continuing. One person had to be rescued from a car after it went off a bank near Upper Hutt overnight. Emergency services rushed to the scene near Kaitoke Loop Road at around 2:45 this morning. Fire and Emergency says crews had to free the person from the vehicle as they were stuck inside. It's not clear if the person has any injuries. Experts are urging schools to reduce students' screen time after research found Kiwi kids are among the highest in the world for device usage. New Zealand researchers have put forward recommendations to kura, saying excessive screen time can negatively impact a child's well-being. The recommendations offer advice for schools on how to keep the benefits of technology without damaging tamariki. AUT Population Health Professor Scott Duncan says not all screen usage is necessarily bad, but he told AM guidelines need to be put in place.
Especially for under 2s or 2 to 5s, for under 2s, there's no real need for them to have screens at all. Because their brains are so rapidly developing at that point. As they get older, of course, kids need to be exposed to some screens. Screens aren't all bad. There's many positive things with screens, but it's the excessive use, going sort of 4, 5, 6 hours a day, that starts to lead towards some negative outcomes that we've seen in the data.
Vladimir Putin says he's taking Donald Trump's plan to end the war in Ukraine seriously. Trump boasted earlier this week he could end the war in a day. Putin, speaking at a summit in Kazakhstan, said he supported the move but had no details of the proposal. The Russian president also said he hadn't been following the US election closely as he was busy with his own affairs. 6 people have been injured after a fuel tanker exploded in northern Brazil. The driver had pulled over to the side of the highway after noticing his tanker had caught fire, bringing traffic to a standstill. The truck then suddenly exploded, damaging several other vehicles. Firefighters were among the injured. To sport now, the Tall Blacks have had their Olympic dreams dashed almost single-handedly by NBA star Luka Doncic. After opening the qualifying tournament with a win over Croatia yesterday, New Zealand has been beaten 104-78 by Slovenia. The Tall Blacks recovered in the second quarter to close the gap to 49-43 shortly after half-time, before Slovenia went on a 13-0 scoring run in the third quarter. Doncic scored 36 points to go with 11 rebounds and 10 assists in the win. The New Zealand Breakers have appointed their new head coach since the departure of Mody Maor. Petteri Koponen will take the lead role and joins the club following a stint in the NBA Summer League as an assistant coach with the San Antonio Spurs. He has also had a successful coaching career in Europe, including 2 years in the EuroLeague. Breakers owner Matt Walsh sees Koponen as one of the best young coaches in the world. And the Franklin Bulls have bounced back to beat the Hawke's Bay Hawks and be within reaching distance of a home playoff. Up 51-46 at halftime, the Bulls grew in accuracy over the second spell, and Luther Muhammad put in 30 points. The Bulls sit 5th on the ladder with one regular season game remaining. A 4th place finish would see them lock in a home playoff. And that's the very latest from Newshub. It's 24 minutes to 7.
Thanks very much, Michael. One of the greatest joys about working here, working on this team, but also working with the wider Newshub team, is the encouragement that we see people give each other. Real, genuine encouragement and support, and this kind of, we're all in it together attitude. And there was a little thing that happened after the Newshub Live at 6 bulletin last night, which was, I thought, a really lovely example of this. So Michael Mora had a lead story last night, an investigation, a continuation of an investigation he's been doing. And when he walked back into the reporters area, this was the reception that he got. That on the floor is the wet weather jackets we have. So they had been laid out to be a red carpet for him, and he got a round of applause there, as he deserves, very much so, for the work that he has done on Newshub. So we would like to hear this morning about the ideas that you have in your workplace that you use to celebrate your employees and I guess, acknowledge good work that's been done.
I've worked here since, 2011 at 3 News, or it's, whatever, all the different things it's been over the years. And like, there's the other thing, the little pink bag, which have notes in it.
Yeah.
That you guys do. I mean, so that's news to me as well. So we didn't have that down in Parliament or in Wellington or... in Europe, it's just yourself.
This is actually a suggestion that you could take to your workplace. I would love for this Newshub tradition to continue elsewhere. So this is what's called the pink bag. This was a time that I got it. And you give it to somebody, you put it on their desk when they've done something that's particularly noteworthy, they've gone above and beyond. And everybody in the team just writes a few little notes, puts it in the bag, and then that person gets to open up the bag and look at the notes that everybody's written for them. Sometimes it's just good for cheering somebody up, that's having a rough time.
It's very wholesome, whereas I think down in Parliament it would be like, Paddy would be like, mate, great yarn, let's go have a beer.
Well, sometimes those notes were like that. They weren't all like very sentimental. Sometimes they were a bit of a laugh,
and
which
I owe
was
you
good
a
too.
beer kind of thing. Oh, yeah, cool. I see, that's nice. I mean, I think it is important to celebrate your colleagues because you do work hard and you put your pride and stuff into work. A lot of people do. They're all hard workers, no matter what industry you're in. So it is important to celebrate your colleagues.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite a cool little idea.
So yeah, you are welcome to take the pink bag idea into your own workplace, and if you do, please keep in touch with me and let me know if you have. Also, send us your ideas this morning of how you celebrate your colleagues. feedback@amshow.co.nz.
Good shout. That is a good shout. All right, Michael, let's have a look at the weather forecast today.
The weather, brought to you by nature. Turn it to power by Meridian.
A ridge of high pressure blankets most of New Zealand today, bringing clear skies for many. So a cold morning for the bottom of the country. Cloud and showers develop this afternoon with Ōtepoti Dunedin reaching a high of 12, Alexandra just a high of 9. Cloud increases in the morning for Te Waipounamu on the west coast of the South Island. Scattered showers possible too, with a high of 10 degrees for Hokitika. Severe frosts for Canterbury this morning, but a fine day with light winds, a high of 10 degrees for you there. Also 10 in Ashburton and Timaru. A cold morning for the bottom of the North Island, maybe the odd shower for Te Papaioia, Palmerston North, a high of 12 degrees for everyone here. The grass will be crunchy under your feet this morning, further north too. Cold overnight, -1 in Taupō, -3 in Waiō-Uru. New Plymouth will warm to a high of 13. It's a fine day on the other side of the North Island. Showers for most of the day for Turanganui, Kiwa, Gisborne, a high of 12 degrees. And the top of the country is mostly fine today. Morning frost for sheltered places. Cloud and showers could arrive this evening though, so watch out for that. 13 degrees the high for Auckland. Right, to your weekend weather now. On Saturday, showers become widespread for most of the country, clearing for some later in the day. And then on Sunday, it's mainly fine, apart from some showers in the deep south and maybe the Manawatu.
Thank you very much for that, Michael. Coming up, we're going to show you some of our funniest and strangest bloopers from over the years at AM. You don't want to miss these. Stick around. thank you so much for joining us on AM Good Morning to you. Nearly 6:45 this morning. This is a live shot of Auckland from the Sky Tower. Good morning, Auckland. You're going to have a high of 13 today and a low of 6. It's going to be mainly fine. How good? But there's going to be areas of morning frost this morning. In terms of traffic, it's pretty quick from Silverdale into the city, 32 minutes. If you're coming into the city from Bombay, pretty quick as well, 47 minutes. That's pretty good. Traffic updates thanks to our partner Battery Zone, your local battery expert.
Thanks, Lloyd. All right, we are celebrating all the good things that have happened on the show this year and for the last few iterations of AM. But the nature of 3 hours of live television means it's not always flawless. So here's a collection of bloopers from over the years that we hope will make your morning.
I quite like this one.
Whatever tickles your fanny.
Whatever tickles your fancy.
Fancy.
The Ministry of Disabled Police, the Ministry of Disabled People.
Your shoe should fit between your wrist and your elbow.
I don't know why you got down on the floor, Ryan.
When you're vacuuming and the suction slows down. No one likes it when the suction slows down.
No.
And then you realise you've got a bunch of hair all tangled up in your vacuum head. Was he alive?
Yeah.
No.
Sorry. Good morning, children.
Fire crews were also called to a vegetation blaze. Sorry, the studio's falling apart.
That fell down while Nikki was reading the weather.
You can probably sort of see it.
It's sort of just really...
Don't rip it.
Good morning, Minister. You were just saying to me...
Not the minister, but...
Oh, sorry.
Yes. It's wriggling, isn't it?
It's crunchy.
Oh,
You can't say that word. Apologies for the language. Months before the first discount superstore opens here.
love a good dick count. Can you look or no? We can't do that.
No, but I've just been told to keep my voice down. I don't know if you can hear
You
me.
have to be quiet. You're live. They're warming up. God, they're divas, those Australians.
He said he'd had an emergency defecation situation and needed to use her bathroom.
An emergency defecation situation.
These guys, the big business guys, that. Oh.
Sit down, Patty. Still live. That's happening. It's another interview.
He's on it now. He's on it. Yeah, we are. You can say it, St Heliers.
With Chumbawamba's lead gut.
Do you want me to finish?
Sorry. Chumbawamba.
Yeah, them. Chumbawamba. What did I say?
Thanks, Oreni. We are going to be back very shortly with David Seymour. What are you doing? Sending a complaint?
No. I thought you were doing the interview now with David Seymour. And Ready? Shocking. We'll go again.
Is the way we're teaching our children how to read outdated? There's going to be a change, and we're going to talk about a structure, the transition that's coming up before in the next 10 minutes.
Can you read?
Winston Peters says he didn't need to raise the topic. Excuse me.
Water?
Excuse me. Yes, please.
Do you want me to you want some water?
No.
You can do this now.
Veto powers with the United Nations chief today.
Sorry about the coughing fit earlier on.
Never suppress the tickle.
Let's go to Christchurch now. Mitch, is it a bird? Is it a train?
Laura, it's actually a plane. Now, we constructed a very clever little throw to Mitch there. Laura was supposed to say, because it's unusual to see a plane on the road, isn't it? Laura was supposed to say, is it a car, is it a train? And Mitch would say, no, Laura, it's a plane on the motorway. Instead, you said, is it a bird?
We've got our Wednesday panel. What is death? Sorry.
Yeah. It just reminds me of... Oh, it's now broken.
It's broken.
High cloud rolls in and just 9 degrees for Dunedin.
Here's some cloud rolling.
Nor'easterlies and high cloud from the afternoon, 10 degrees for you, Christchurch.
Where was Michael in the bloopers? This proves that you are perfect,
No,
Michael.
I previewed that and took all of my pieces out.
Well, let's just say that there is a lot of you and some of your antics later in the show. We'll play that just before 9 o'clock.
You haven't edited those out.
Yes.
We've made sure of that.
Yeah. I mean, you feature quite a lot. So that's quite funny. It's quite nice looking back, isn't it? I forgot about the emergency defecation situation, which was just so good.
That was a classic. I just want to read a couple of bits of feedback because you are sending in some lovely emails this morning. Thank you so much. Amanda says, thank you to the frontline people and everyone else who is integral to this show, but who we don't see. Come on out in front of your cameras. Come on.
Come on, get
Come
in
and
front.
say hello.
They hate being on camera, but they love being
There
behind
they
the
are.
camera. Look at them, they're all absolute legends.
Yeah, thanks,
They really
guys. Jason says, AM in all its iterations has been part of my morning routine for years, from 6 till 9 every weekday. You've been there with me. I live by myself, and it's been like having a buddy there as I start each day.
Oh, there's been a few poems as well that have been sent through. I can't read, this one's a very long poem, isn't it?
We might read a little bit of it later on.
Yeah, maybe I'll get it. I'll read that a little bit
Because a lot
later.
of effort has gone into that.
But yeah, a lot of people who are messaging via email, they're commenting on our socials as well, and I can feel my phone vibrating down here with a lot of messages.
We don't want to know what's going on down there.
Sorry, that sounded way worse. Can we add that to the bloopers?
10 to 7 now. Just ahead, we go live to London for the latest on UK's election. Stay with us after 7.
So don't delay, act now, supplies are running out. Allowing fuel still alive, 6 to 8 years to arrive. And if you follow them, maybe tomorrow.
Welcome back, you're with AM. It is 6 minutes away from 7 o'clock. Good morning to you. Now, New Zealand has been weathering the storm of the cost of living crisis with a relatively strong labour market. However, the tide appears to be turning, with job security fears on the rise and businesses looking at cost cutting as households continue to struggle to make ends meet. In short, the pain could get worse. Here with the economic outlooks for the rest of the year is ASB's chief economist, Nick Tuffley. Nick, who's been with 3 News since 2010. We used to do ASB Securities on the bulletins, and you were our last guest on AM early as well. So it's great to have you here, Nick, for our last show. Thank you very much. And it's a pretty apt topic, isn't it, for the last AM show that we're going to talk about job losses. And your rival bank, ANZ, is predicting job losses of 40,000 this year. That is pretty substantial. Why is that?
Look, it is. We're perhaps a little bit more upbeat, but either way, we think overall employment is going to be flat. And as you know too well, there are some industries that are going backwards. Some areas that are going forward, like healthcare, education will be some examples. I think what I'd stress is it's just an environment now where we're seeing a lot more sort of job insecurity coming through. That's also been triggered by what's been happening with the government as well. And wage growth is starting to slow. Unemployment will rise. Particularly because we've still got lots of people coming into the country, and we've got more people coming out of schools and universities looking for work as well. So it's certainly getting a more challenging environment to be employed in and gain employment in.
So households are feeling the pinch, but also businesses are as well. And when they're feeling the pinch, they're looking for ways to save money. That is often with making staff redundant. How tough are we talking the rest of this year is going to get? Are we talking, people losing their jobs, defaults on mortgages, mortgagee sales? I mean, how bad is it going to get, do you know?
Well, I think it will be relatively mild on that regard, particularly compared to the global financial crisis. That's where we saw tens of thousands of overall job losses and a lot more pressure on people servicing mortgages. That's where we went into that with floating rate mortgages at nearly 11%. So look, we do think it will be challenging. However, I think one thing I would say is look, it's always the darkest before the dawn. We're also starting to see some signs that inflation will get under control, and we're hopeful that the Reserve Bank will actually cut interest rates before the end of the year and give people a little bit of early Christmas cheer. And that will start that gradual unwinding of the pressure that so many people with a mortgage are facing with those high interest rates impacting their ability to keep on affording some of the things that they would like to.
I mean, darkest before the dawn, and in order to get disinflation, because we want disinflation, right? And job losses is a way of getting there, because job losses means less money circulating in the economy, people spending less because they don't have a job, they don't have money. Is that the way to get there? It's going to be hard, dark before the dawn?
Look, it's the impact of monetary policy. It's discouraged us from spending. That is flowing through. We're seeing some job losses come through, unfortunately, because it's been so hard getting inflation down. So there is a little bit more pain. But what I would stress is that we'll start to see the signs that the Reserve Bank's getting to the end of it. One example is, look, food price inflation, it's back down around 1%. It was at 12%. So that's making a big difference to some households, particularly low-income households where food forms such a large proportion of what they spend their money on.
This economic pain and the job losses, is that why ASB's changed its OCR outlook for November? Is that when you think the Reserve Bank's going to start cutting the OCR?
Look, it is part of that story. What we do think is that now we're seeing some more signs that monetary policy is starting to work. It's just been amazing how resilient things have been when you think about it over the last 2 years, but there are some cracks there. And importantly, it's about inflation probably coming down a bit quicker than what the Reserve Bank's been anticipating. And that's what we think will mean the Reserve Bank can go, right, we've done what we needed to do. Inflation's back to where it should be. We can start cutting interest rates, and that will breathe a bit of life back into the economy, and particularly for those households who are feeling some of that pressure from high interest rates.
What are you thinking will happen next week with the OCR?
Look, we think it'll remain where it is. It's far too early, I think, for the Reserve Bank to be seriously contemplating interest rate cuts. And unfortunately, they don't get the latest inflation figures until the week after. So we really need the Reserve Bank to start going, well, hang on, we're seeing that the actual inflation figures are coming down. And the next couple of inflation reads we think will be enough, fingers crossed, to open the door to the Reserve Bank cutting interest rates. But we're certainly seeing signs in business surveys that their ability to put prices up, and even the sort of cost pressures they're feeling are starting to ease as well. So look, so there are some encouraging signs out there. So look, let's really focus and hope that that job of getting inflation under control quickly happens and leads that way to lower interest rates.
Thank you very much for your time this morning, Nick. Go and have a wonderful weekend. That is ASB's chief economist, Nick Tuffley. It's interesting what he said there, that our resilience may have prolonged the pain that we're having at the moment, but the cracks are there, and we'll see those cracks open up before the end of the year. Interesting stuff. This is AM. It is nearly 7 o'clock.
No, right, haere mai. It is Friday, the 5th of July. Thank you so much for joining us on this AM, a very special show for us this morning. Polls in the UK close in just a couple of hours, and what's expected to be a landslide election for Labour. We're live to London in just a few minutes.
Nationals' Erica Stanford and Labour's Willie Jackson, they join us for our final political panel. They'll debate the big issues. It should be pretty interesting. I wonder if Willie will get a word in today. We'll do that just before 7:30.
We're joined by former AM host Ryan Bridge and the former AM show presenter Amanda Gillies to talk about their highs and lows in this business. That's at 7:40.
And stay with us as we spend our last morning on air with you. Plenty of fun yet to be had before we close the final curtain on AM. Right now, though, it's time for the news with Michael.
Atamari, it's 7 o'clock. Polls close in just 2 hours in the UK in an election that's expected to end 14 years of Tory rule. No wonder Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer had a spring in his step as he voted in London. Late polling suggests his party will achieve a huge majority, and current Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will soon be relegated to the opposition if he keeps his seat at all. The first results are expected to start coming in around 10:30 New Zealand time. Police are searching for a person believed to have gone missing in bush north of Wellington. Police received a report late last night that the individual hadn't returned home after entering the bush outside of Carterton. Officers believe they could be near Mangatarere Valley Road and are planning to resume the search at first light. The sun is rising on Newshub for the final time, with the news network to be switched off from tonight. 4 months ago, American owners Warner Brothers Discovery made the decision to shut down Newshub and opt into a deal with Stuff to produce news for 3. Our reporter Mitch Redman is outside our Auckland offices. Mitch, what can people expect from Newshub today?
Yeah, good morning, Michael. Today marks the end of a 35-year era here at 3, and while there'll be heavy hearts right throughout the building, it will be relatively business as usual here today. Camera operators, reporters, editors, graphics, media control exchanges, the list goes on. They'll all be preparing for that final bulletin at 6 o'clock tonight. Now, from there, the entire operation, crews from Christchurch and Wellington as well, they'll all be gathering here at Flower Street to watch that last bulletin go out before, I'm sure, a few quiets as well. So while it's an emotional day here and a tough day here for those that have spent many, many years here, it is a chance to celebrate as well.
Tēnei te mihi ki a koe e hoa. Thank you so much. Mitch Redmond live from Auckland. Experts are warning of the dangers of excessive screen time after research found Kiwi kids are among the worst in the world for device usage. New Zealand researchers have put forward recommendations to kura saying excessive screen time can negatively impact a child's well-being. The recommendations offer advice for schools on how to keep the benefits of technology without damaging tamariki. AUT Population Health Professor Scott Duncan says exploitation is a huge issue among Kiwi rangatahi, especially high school students. He said guidelines need to be put in place in schools to ensure they can get the benefits.
These recommendations aren't saying that we shouldn't have technology in schools. It needs to be that kids need to be fluent in digital communication. It's just really paying attention to how much they're using it.
A Moscow court has sentenced an American citizen to 12.5 years in jail on drug charges. Robert Woodland was accused of selling methamphetamines as part of a drug ring. Woodland has reportedly been working as an English teacher. The 32-year-old is one of a growing list of Americans who have been detained in Russia as relations between the powers deteriorate. Washington has repeatedly warned all Americans to leave Russia, citing the risk of wrongful detentions and harassment from Russian security services. In sport now, and top seed Iga Swiatek has this morning reached the third round of Wimbledon with a tenacious straight sets win on centre court. The Polish world number one struggled in early games but broke her Croatian opponent's serve late in both sets to win 6-4, 6-3. The 23-year-old is the tournament favourite but is only putting pressure on herself to do better than her quarter-final finish last year.
I have different challenges here and I'm focusing on them and not on statistics. I want to get better here at grass, so that's my main goal, and I don't feel like, I need to prove anything.
Elsewhere, Novak Djokovic has struggled but survived a wild card scare to advance to the next round of Wimbledon with a 6-3, 6-4, 5-7, 7-5 victory. And the Rabbitohs have continued their mid-season revival with a 32-16 win over Parramatta and recorded their fifth straight victory to jump ahead of the Warriors. That's the very latest from Newshub. It's 5 minutes after 7.
Thanks very much, Michael. There is an email that has just come through which is particularly special for us this morning. It's from Aaron. And he says, I'm just writing to say a massive thank you from the West Coast for all the great coast stories you've told over the years. As New Zealand's smallest region, we're often ignored by the national media. But the AM team has been amazing with lots of great interviews and stories. We really appreciate all the hard mahi the team has done.
That's because the West Coast...
That means a lot.
It does mean a lot. That's the best part of the country. I love the West Coast. On a good day, on a bad day, like on a bad day when it's raining, it's quite cleansing and it's rough and it's kind of nice. On a beautiful day, it's just, the coast is just the West Coast. Love it. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Aaron.
A bit of a fan. I mean, you'll know this person, Michael, because I think they've probably told you that they're a fan before, but Pam,
oh my God.
A special call put to Michael, has been my favourite. There you go. Are we going to see you on screen again? Pam asks. So there you go.
There's probably many more Pams out there that have Michael sitting in that number one spot.
You know what? A personal thank you to Pam. You've probably kept me in my job, to be honest. Emailing every morning. Oh, keep him on, keep him on.
Can you blow her a kiss?
There you go, Pam. Woo! She'll dine out on that one for a wee while. Michelle and Millie have written in, my little girl was 2, she's now 4. She knows all of your names and she particularly she likes William. She gets very excited when he comes on. I know for sure she's going to miss you all.
I'm sort of the same with William. He brings a lot of joy.
Makes us giggly?
Yeah, he makes us giggly, but he's just the straight face. He's just, he's shameless. I love it. Sue and Dean, good morning to you, Sue and Dean. You're lying in bed this morning. You're watching our last show. We're wondering how... Sorry.
All right.
Wow, look. You know,
they're taking this quite literally, aren't they? The wake up with us. Well, we're right there in bed with you this morning, Sue and Dean.
To be honest, when I was in the UK, I would watch I'd watch the morning show, you know, just in my undies watching at night.
TMI.
But that's what people do. A lot of people are just watching us in their underwear. We're wondering how we're going to start our days without you, Sue and Dean ask. Well, yeah, I'm sorry about that. The decision was out of our hands, to be honest. But yeah, we're thanks for waking up with us in bed, doing whatever you're doing. It's been lovely having you watch us.
We hope that's watching the show. 7:07 this morning. Let's take a look at the weather.
The weather, brought to you by nature. Turn it to power by Meridian.
A ridge of high pressure blankets most of Aotearoa today, bringing clear skies for many. So a cold morning in the bottom of the South Island. Cloud and showers develop this afternoon with a high of 8 degrees for Tahuna, Queenstown. Cloud increases in the morning for the west coast of Te Waipounam and the South Island. Scattered showers possible too, with a high of 12 for Westport. Severe frosts for Canterbury this morning, but a fine day with light winds there. Plenty of sun elsewhere also. Whakatū, Nelson, your high is 12 degrees. A cold morning for the bottom of Te Ika-a-Maui, the North Island. Maybe the odd shower for Te Papaioea, Palmerston North, and a high of 12 degrees for everyone here. Further north, and the grass will be crunchy for many this morning with cold overnight lows. -1 for Taupo, -3 for Waiō-Uru. And it's a fine day on the other side of the North Island. Showers for most of the day, though, for Turanganui, Kiwa, Gisborne. A high of 11 for Rotorua. And the top of the country is fine. Morning frost for some sheltered places, but cloud and showers will arrive this evening. Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, your high is 13 degrees. All right, your weekend weather now, and on Rahoroi, Saturday showers become widespread for most of the country, clearing for some later in the day. Then Rātapu Sunday, it's mainly fine apart from some showers in the deep south and Manawatu.
Thank you very much for that, Michael. The 14-year stint of the Conservatives being in power in the UK, it looks like it's about to end. Polls across the UK close in just under 2 hours, and it's expected there'll be a massive swing to the left back to Labour, and the word landslide is being thrown around. Joining us now is Ollie Barrett. He's FSN's correspondent live in London. Good morning / good evening to you, Ollie. Now, polls they close in what, under 2 hours? Have there been any exit polls or early sneaky polls or anything that's leaked out? Can you tell us what the result is going to be?
Morning, Lloyd. Well, we haven't got any sneaky early polls, but we will get an exit poll bang on 10 p.m. here as the polls close, which, as you say, is in just under 2 hours from now. And that moment will be crucial because exit polls here in Britain have actually been pretty accurate in recent years. The Boris Johnson election of 2019, they were just a few seats out. So if at 10 p.m. we get the sense from the exit poll that a large Labour majority is on the cards, that is probably the direction in which we are heading. It then takes a few hours after that for the actual results to start coming in, and when the actual results start to trickle in constituency by constituency by constituency, it's at that point we'll really start to be able to say, well, look, the exit poll and the actual results coming in look like they're going to bear each other out, and therefore we will have a pretty good idea where we're headed, probably 2-3 a.m. Local time here in London on Friday, and again that depends on the scale of the victory, but as you were saying, all of the polls so far have been suggesting in recent days and in recent weeks that it could be a large majority for the Labour Party.
OK, so a large Labour majority, that's big changes to the political landscape. That means you have a new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. Who is he? What's he like? What policies will he roll out? Will it be big changes, or is he going to be pretty vanilla?
Well, he has repositioned the Labour Party further towards the centre ground. That's been his whole mission since he took over the leadership of the Labour Party from Jeremy Corbyn, who was much further to the left. And he wanted to do that because he thought that you couldn't win an election for the Labour Party without positioning it in the centre ground. So in many ways, he's not that different from the Conservatives. There are policy differences on things like energy, on some taxation areas. Adding taxation to some private schools, for example, is a big differentiating factor with the Conservatives. But there's quite a lot on which they're actually quite similar. Keir Starmer insists that what he really wants to bring to the UK is more stability than has been seen under the Conservatives, particularly in recent years, with all the changes of leadership and leadership challenges and new Prime Ministers and Prime Ministers only lasting a few dozen days at a time at times. And so Keir Starmer insists he will bring in a period of renewal, is how he describes it for the UK. But he's got a very long to-do list, a real difficult list of challenges, particularly with the economy, and that's going to be one of his key challenges when he gets into office. And the way it works here is that if we do know where the election's headed by the early hours of Friday morning, then that changeover could happen pretty quickly. Rishi Sunak goes to see the King to say effectively his government is over. Keir Starmer would go and see the King and be asked to form a government, and then he could be walking through the door in Downing Street, just a couple of hundred metres behind me, at some point on Friday itself.
If the predictions are right and there is a big Labour landslide, would Labour have won it on merit, or have they won it by accident because of Nigel Farage coming along with the Reform Party and splitting the vote on the right, meaning that Labour's cleaned up? Is it accidental or merit?
Yeah, Nigel Farage's Reform Party seemed to be a factor in taking votes away from the Conservatives. But actually, even before Nigel Farage entered the race and Reform started surging in the polls, it looked like Labour were going to win a large majority potentially anyway. But actually, your question is really interesting, because what the polls don't show is a huge surge of love and admiration for Keir Starmer as an individual, as a leader. He is not a very popular leader nationally. He would become one of the least popular new Prime Ministers in British history. There is a sense that voters who are abandoning the Conservatives for the Labour Party, many of them are doing that more because they want to give someone else a chance and they want to get rid of the Tories than they are necessarily because they have deep affection for Keir Starmer and his Labour Party. So that's another reason that if Keir Starmer does become Prime Minister, even if he does have a very large majority, he will not have an easy job on his hands. He will have to go some to win over the hearts and minds of some of the British public who appear to be, in many ways, holding their noses and voting for him.
Interesting stuff there. Thank you very much for your time this morning. That is Ollie Barrett, our correspondent from FSN over in London. Those results will come in at around 9 a.m, so just after we go off here.
Keep an eye on newshub.co.nz today as they bring you the very latest on that. Coming up, National's Erica Stanford and Labour's Willie Jackson join us in the studio for the final political panel. Stay with us.
How many dudes you know roll like this? How many dudes you know flow like this? Not many, infinity. Not many, infinity. How many dudes you know got the skills to go and rock a show like this? I don't know.
Welcome back to AM. Thanks to our partner Wellbeing Cafe. Nice to look back on some of the old titles from the previous morning shows here on TV3 now. It's 7:18 and it's been a big week in education with the plan for standardised testing being rolled out from a child's first year. We've also heard this morning about new guidelines being released for schools around devices in schools. There are a few schools nowadays that aren't using devices for lessons, and New Zealand students have been found to have among the highest screen usage in the world. For our final AM political panel, we are joined by Education Minister Erica Stanford and Labour MP Willie Jackson. Good morning to you both. OK, so that report this morning, it came from the AUT Population Health School. They say that they have come up with some guidelines for schools, which is basically going to give them an idea of how much screen time is useful in schools and how much actually is going to harm our children. Are you going to be prescriptive to schools and say you must follow these guidelines?
I'll certainly take a look at what they've proposed. I think it is well time that we are looking at this issue. I mean, I've been overseas recently. I was up in Singapore talking to experts, and they are well ahead of us. They've already got guidelines in different countries around the world about screen time, especially at ECE, because we know the impact of screen time on oral language development. If I've got one message to parents, it's, speak to your child, because that device time when they're really young just inhibits that oral language. So, yes, I think it'll be really interesting for us to take a really good look at it and then talk to the sector and together come up with some guidelines for schools to reduce some of that screen time, especially in the very early years where it can be so damaging.
Because a lot of schools take the opinion that screen time is good. It's preparing people for using technology and devices out in the real world and in their jobs. But are you saying actually that potentially schools are going overboard?
Well, I think it's worth looking at. I mean, I've not seen any evidence from schools. It's hard to know because schools all do their own individual thing, so we don't have any really good data about how much individual schools are using screens. But that's why I think this research is really, and these guidelines are interesting for us to start a conversation and to go, well, actually, what does the landscape look like? How much are we using screens? But importantly, what are we using screens for? And I'd sort of think, at ECE, especially for those under twos, in my personal opinion, there's no place for that. And I know, like in Singapore, for example, they have guidelines around that. So there are some things to look at, but we'll be guided by the research and the evidence, because it's not my reckons. It's always, what does the research tell us?
And Willie, do you think that sounds fair enough, that we should look at how much devices are being relied on?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, this is something that I can agree with the Minister on.
You always agree with it. This is a nice way to finish the panel.
Well, we haven't finished the show yet, though.
Oh, okay, all right.
But I mean, no, I mean, look, we see how these kids but it's not just kids who spend too much time on screens, is it? You get a lot of adults who are on it far too much. But you want to get them into good habits. So what Erica's saying in terms of getting the advice and before you don't want to be too prescriptive, but because you're just interfering in some of these kids' lives. But they are on there too much, and we're all concerned. We're all concerned. So you just want to get the right environment for them and see what's happening at home, all that type of thing. A lot of them, COVID wasn't good for us. A lot of these kids, they just, not just kids, but adults, all we do is get glued to these things and then they lose those social skills. So you understand it a bit, but I think that what the Minister's outlined is probably the right way forward. Yeah.
It's learned behaviour, though. They watch us. I'm always on my phone. I've got to remember to put it down.
Yeah, that's right. All of us.
Everybody else.
Even when you go to dinner, right?
And then the kids are on it. I mean, my kids are on their devices all the time. I'm as guilty as anyone. And it's hard. That's why...
If the Education Minister can't stop your kids, then what hope is there for the rest of us?
Well, I've got the 6 hours at school, right? That's the cell phone free time, which wasn't always popular in my house, I can tell you.
Right, this is terribly amicable, but there have been times where we've had good, healthy debate on the show, and because it is our final political panel, wanted to say, first of all, thank you both. It's always entertaining, it's always informative to have you both here. And were there any particular reflections or standout moments for you during your time on the political panel?
Well, that bloke over there has been very rude to me.
It was just last week,
Just last week, But hey, it all comes with the territory, and we understand that when Goldie used to get carried away, not so much Erica, that he'd take it out on me because he's showing his true Tory colours,
Oh,
but no, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. I want to congratulate you guys and the whole team because for both of us, and we got you a couple of presents. I think Erica's got one. Pass your presents over there, Erica. No, you guys made a huge contribution to the local landscape, and want to thank you for your contribution. Seriously, a lot of fun. Gets a bit robust. Which are your ones?
Okay, so look, from me as well. I mean, I've felt like I've been part of your family for the last 2 years. I'm going to miss you so much. So for you, always, Mal, for your children, I've got some structured literacy books.
Oh, I love it.
And I have signed them at the front from the Ministry of Education so that when they're reading these and sounding out their letters using phonemic awareness.
Okay, and they'll be tested on that next year, so I'll keep you posted on the results.
You've got to watch that testing, all right?
Yeah, hope they're not posted publicly,
though. Can I just say, it's progression monitoring. We don't say testing anymore these days.
Yeah, first step on the way to privatisation, but we won't go there.
Or streaming, grouping viability.
This is the man who's involved in charter schools.
Right.
That's not, So, there's a small story behind this, and I think that the reason for that is this is going to be quite worth a lot of money in the future. The reason for that is I purchased this plane Lego for you, Lloyd, because I know you're into planes.
Yep, and Lego.
Yes, and wow, I didn't know that. That's excellent. So I spent all day yesterday ensuring that the Prime Minister signed this, Christopher Luxon. It's been up in his office. He was to sign it.
You really want that now?
He was supposed to give it back to me. He accidentally bought it yesterday. It's been here for the last 24 hours. Turns out It never got signed. So I have signed it. Christopher Luxon.
It's forgery.
So, well, sort of, but that might make it worth more money.
I think it makes it more valuable.
That's what I thought. That's what I hoped. So there we go.
Lovely. And I've got some chocolates for you guys.
Oh,
and the cursive handwriting there's not too bad as well, Erica.
This is from Lissy and Rudy. I don't know if you've heard about them, but that's from me, but they're good mates. And for yourself.
I'm eating my feelings at this moment, so that's well.
Hey, for you too, brother. We've got one for you too, brother. Here we
thank
go.
you very much.
Thanks,
I've
here we go.
also got a wee gift for you, Willie.
I got a gift for me.
Got him a pie. Did you get him a pie?
To shut his pie hole.
We should not take political advantage. This is a different time, but I'll be happy to take. But I seriously want to thank you guys. You know, it's been a huge contribution. And we're going to miss them, eh?
We are.
You've given Labor no slack whatsoever.
You've
been in the pockets of the government.
A strong opposition is a strong government, Willie.
We give you some stick about saying all the time that you never get a word in.
And
do
today
you seriously think that you never get a word in?
I'll have a think about that and I'll come back to you. But more importantly is you guys are here challenging us all the time. That's what it's all about.
Asking the tough questions.
Asking the tough questions. And
holding us to account.
We're going to miss you, really. And I want to wish you, all three of you, all the best.
Yep.
You know, been compulsive viewing and enjoyed it every week with whether it was Erica or Goldie. Well, Goldie gets a bit worked up.
And I love how you call him Goldie.
Did you want
That's his name, isn't it?
Oh, I do have a small gift. I didn't bring it with me because it's in Wellington. I have a, I've put some funds on your Copperfield's Cafe Parliament Cafe account because I know that there is a secret, strong Tory side to you. You're going to miss me. You're going to miss me in the mornings. So anytime you want a coffee,
we'll go and have a coffee.
You just ring me.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. But we are going to miss you. Thank you so much for the fabulous,
and all the best
mornings over the last few years.
Families too, you know. I know it's not just about you, it's about your whānau too. So all the best.
Yeah.
No,
definitely made some sacrifices for us over the years.
And Willie, you're also probably responsible for the most emails that we get, both loving you and hating you.
A bit of both, isn't it?
God, yes. Yeah.
But like yourself and Ryan. But like yourself and Ryan.
That is Minister Erica Stanford and Labor MP Willie Jackson.
All the best.
Coming up next, the 7:30 News is on the way. Then we've got Ryan Bridge and Amanda Gillies. They join us on the couch to talk about their time in morning television on TV3. Stay with us.
AM, fueled by Wild Bean Cafe.
No, right, howdy, Mai. Thanks for joining us on AM. It's time for your news now with Michael.
Morning, it's 7:31. With the UK election set to close in less than 2 hours, earlier polls suggest big changes are to come for the British political landscape. The Conservatives, led by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, have been in power for 14 years now. However, it seems it might be about to end, as the Labour Party are sitting comfortably well ahead in the polls. FSN reporter Ollie Barrett says while we don't see the results for another couple of hours, as soon as the voting doors close at 9 a.m. New Zealand time, an exit poll will give a rough idea about what's to come.
Because exit polls here in Britain have actually been pretty accurate in recent years. The Boris Johnson election of 2019, they were just a few seats out. So if at 10 p.m. we get the sense from the exit poll that a large Labour majority is on the cards, that is probably the direction in which we are heading.
People remain unaccounted for following a house fire in Fiordland on Thursday morning. One person died in the Manapoti blaze, which crews responded to just after 3:30 in the morning. It's unclear how many people may have been at the property, but police say inquiries are ongoing to locate them. An investigation into what caused the blaze continues. One person's had to be rescued from a car after it went off a bank near Upper Hutt overnight. Emergency services rushed to the scene near Kaitoki Loop Road at around 2:45 this morning. Fire and Emergency says crews had to free the person from the vehicle as they were stuck inside. It's not clear if the person has any injuries. Experts are urging schools to reduce students' screen time after research found Kiwi kids are among the highest in the world for device usage. New Zealand researchers have put forward recommendations to Kura saying excessive screen time can negatively impact a child's well-being. The recommendations offer advice for schools on how to keep the benefits of technology without damaging tamariki. AUT Population Health Professor Scott Duncan says not all screen usage is necessarily bad, but said guidelines need to be put in place.
especially for under 2s or 2 to 5s. There's no real, for under 2s, there's no real need for them to have screens at all. Because their brains are so rapidly developing at that point. As they get older, of course, kids need to be exposed to some screens. Screens aren't all bad. There's many positive things with screens, but it's the excessive use, going sort of 4, 5, 6 hours a day, that starts to lead towards some negative outcomes that we've seen in the data.
To sport now, and the Baby Blakes have claimed a dramatic victory over 3-time defending champions France at the Under-20 Rugby World Cup this morning. After trailing 11-0 at half-time and losing a player to the sin bin, the Kiwis came from behind in first 5. Rico Simpson kicked New Zealand to a 27-26 win. But it was initially denied as the assistant referees didn't put up their flags. The TMO had to later confirm that the ball did slot through the goal to hand the Kiwis the win.
Some massive confusion, but the kick is good and New Zealand win a last-minute penalty.
That last kick, what a thriller. Goes to show it took the full 80 to really get back into this game.
Incredible stuff. The Tall Blacks have had their Olympic dreams dashed almost single-handedly by NBA star Luka Doncic. After opening the qualifying tournament with a surprise win over Croatia yesterday, New Zealand has been defeated 104-78 by Slovenia. The Tall Blacks recovered in the second quarter after trailing early in the first to close the gap to 49-43 shortly after half-time, before Slovenia went on a 13-0 scoring run in the third. Doncic scored 36 points to go with 11 rebounds and 10 assists. And that's the very latest from Newshub. It's 25 minutes to 8. Time now for a look at the weather.
The weather, brought to you by nature. Turn it to power by Meridian.
A ridge of high-pressure blankets most of Aotearoa today, bringing clear skies for many. So a cold morning for the bottom of the country. Cloud and showers develop this afternoon, with Tahuna Queenstown reaching a high of just 8 and Ōtepoti Dunedin 12. Cloud increases in the morning for the west coast of Te Waipounam, the South Island. Scattered showers possible too, with a high of 9 degrees for the Milford Sound. Severe frosts for the Canterbury region this morning, but a fine day with light winds. Highs of 10 for Timaru, Ashburton and Christchurch. A cold morning for the bottom of Te Ikaumaui, the North Island. Maybe the odd shower for Te Papaioa, Palmerston North, with highs of 12 here. The grass will be crunchy under your feet this morning further north. Mostly sunny during the day, but yes, as I mentioned, cold this morning. It's a fine day on the other side of the North Island. Showers for most of the day for Turanganui, Kiwa, Gisborne with a high of 12 degrees for you there. Tauranga a high of 14. And the top of the country is fine today. Morning frosts for sheltered places. Cloud and showers could arrive this evening. Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, your high is 13 degrees. Right, to your weekend weather now, and on Saturday, showers become widespread for most of the country, clearing for some later in the day, and then on Sunday, it's mainly fine apart from some showers in the deep south and the Manawatu.
Thank you very much for that, Michael. Let's head out for one last cross with our wonderful roving reporter, William Wairoa. Good morning, Willie. You're at Belmont School and you've got a special performance.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Belmont Primary School, it is the last ride, and look, we're going to make this one count, Lloydie. We're going to make this one count. But we're here with Bruce Cunningham, who's the principal here at Belmont, and we're doing Red Nose Day today, and people are going red for Red Nose Day.
Fantastic, isn't it? Great to embarrass yourself. What a great cause. Cure Kids. Support it. Go out there, make a fool of yourself, raise some money for Cure Kids, William.
But what's going on back here?
The kids have got to dance, and they've been teaching me the dance. I've got 3 left feet. I'm going to try and do a dance. I'm going to embarrass myself.
Well, mate, I'm pretty good at my dancing. I sort of pride myself on my dancing, so I might be able to help you out.
Dance off.
Hey, don't be silly, mate. If you dance off with me, okay. Dance off. But we do have Francis over here, who's the CEO of Red Nose Day. And Francis, can you tell us a bit more about what's happening over the month of July and today?
Hey, Waramu, look at these kids, aren't they amazing? So they're the future tamariki of New Zealand. So if you want to go red for Red Nose Day, get embarrassed, do something fun, and go to rednose.co.nz.
Okay, so you go red and then people donate to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is funding research into all child health issues. So Cure Kids is really involved in funding research so that our kids, these beautiful kids, can live their healthiest, brightest lives.
Francis, you're amazing. Look, I think we're going to be going red, me and Bruce.
Let's go, William.
See, what's our plan?
We're going to dance.
Okay.
We're going to dance. Okay, you ready?
What are we?
I have no idea, William. Let's wait for
I've got to take this off. Are we waiting for the kids or? All right.
We hear green grass. You do any dance now, William? Any dance? Yeah. When we hear green grass.
Well, guys, you might notice that I am wearing my. I don't wear this very often. I've said it about 1 million times. I'm wearing the turtee today.
Special
that means
occasions
I'm ready
only.
to bring, you know, a bit of respectability to the situation, but also, you know, I want to be playful.
Respectability?
Well, yeah, over.
What William does.
I've got
I wouldn't describe William as having respectability.
Oh, come on. He's teaching that Tuck in Friday to the next generation of tuckers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people who are tucked in there.
Bruce Cunningham from
You've got to tell them to tuck in a bit more.
all the beautiful kids. Well done, kids.
Amazing.
Good effort. You did a good job. Going red for Red Nose Day.
That is very special, William, and we are going to see you in the studio a little later, so that's very exciting. 21 away from 8 now. Just ahead, we check in with our good mates and colleagues Ryan Bridge and Amanda Gillies. Hoki Mairo, thanks for joining us on AM this morning. You're looking at a live shot of Wellington. Good morning. If you're joining us from Wellington this morning, thank you so much. You're looking at a high of 12 degrees, a low of 5. Fine, apart from some cloud. It's taking 13 minutes from the airport into the city and 51 minutes from Peka Peka. Traffic updates thanks to our partner Battery Zone, your local battery expert. Did you want to say, I wondered if you'd want to have one last hurl on the Battery Zone.
Shall I?
Go on.
Can we roll that back?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, keep going down.
Good morning, New Zealand. Good morning, Wellington. You're watching AM. It's 7:44. You got a high of 12 in Wellington this morning. Currently taking 13 minutes. Yes, just 13 minutes from the airport into the city. 51 minutes from Peka Peka. Traffic updates thanks to our partner Battery Zone, your local battery expert.
Bit out of practice, but it was all right.
That was rusty as buckery.
It was terrible.
That was rusty as buckery. But that's okay, we'll forgive you.
Can I just tell you, I just said to Ryan, have you got an earpiece? And he looked at me weirdly and he was like, what? And he thought I'd said to him, have you got your nappies? And I just thought, I've missed this man so much. What context your nappies are in, I don't know. But yeah, welcome back, Ryan.
We can't even introduce them, can we?
Do we just let them introduce themselves and do it?
We're going to be on our best behaviour. Go,
That's right.
go,
No. I mean, you guys, we don't even need to do the intro now because you've kind of already introduced yourself, Ryan Bridge.
Give us a good one.
And Amanda Gillies, former AM show and The AM show and AM hosts over the years. Great to have you with us for a special panel.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you back.
We're kind of reflecting on a whole lot of things, not really getting too existential today. Can we start off with where you're at, what you're doing, what your next moves are?
Yes, I have been in this morning at News Talk ZB from 3 a.m.
Oh, setting those alarms again already.
I'm like, it's all coming back to me. So I am going to be doing the early edition program on News Talk ZB from 5 till 6. Weekday morning, starting Monday, if you'd like to tune in.
He's rehearsing that one, isn't he?
So that's very exciting. It's very, very exciting. It's a new challenge. It's working for NZME and working for News Talk ZB is a great privilege, and I'm lucky to have a job, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm also looking forward to getting to know a new audience and all that kind of stuff that goes with it, and getting back to radio, which is actually where I started. Funnily enough, because I had terrible teeth. And the
I can bring up that photo if you want.
Don't bring the photo up. The man who, and I won't name anybody, but the man who hired me, he said, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to send you to radio first. So I've had some work done, people. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway,
goodness.
that was.
Wow. Clearly, my teeth were passable. I'm quite happy about that.
I did send a photo of you in the 2013 press gallery photo.
You did.
I sent it to our producer Olivia, and she's like, "Who's that?" And it's you with glasses. And
that was your radio era.
Yeah. Those were the days. Anyway,
Holy heck,
here we are now.
arguably the hottest man in television. How could someone say that to you? If this makes me feel any better, a man wrote in when I was on the AM once to say that he couldn't stand my teeth teeth that were like little piano keys. And now I can't ever get that mind picture out of my mind. He said those little piano keys that you have when you smile, and I was like, wow. So if that makes you feel any better, I don't know.
Wow, people are harsh,
Yeah, people are harsh.
So they can be on
That's brutal.
A handwritten
Now I just
note.
can't stop looking at your teeth being like, they don't actually look anything like a piano.
I want to play them.
Yeah. But the Titanic soundtrack's playing. Yeah, they're looking at
Well,
your
it
mouth.
is kind of like the Titanic could play today, the soundtrack for us going down.
Yeah,
so.
very apt. I mean, yeah, very apt. What are you doing, Amanda? You're probably sick and tired to death, like we all are, of that question. So I'm sorry that we have to ask it on national telly.
Can I just say, today I was going to wear black because I thought of day of mourning and day of it's sadness. And then I thought, to hell with that. This is my tribute to Lloyd Burr, this dress, because I thought the man with the sassiest socks, the best brooches, the best shirts in town, I wanted to match you with this dress.
Nice.
And your sass. So I've gone in sparkles. I thought we'll go out with a bang.
Well, I'm not even actually. The only sparkly thing is this little flamingo.
Yeah.
Which I got from some cheap Chinese store that sent it over, but it does sort of sparkle a little bit. And I've got avocados on my socks, which, I mean, they could be more exciting. But anyway, awesome stuff. So you're just chilling out after today?
I'm going to chill out.
Yep.
So I've done 23 years here, and it's been a blast, and I've loved every single moment. And then I thought, I was in that absolute FOMO. People were going to staff to NZME, to News Talk, and you sort of get caught up in it, and you think, oh my God, am I missing out? And I thought, no, we're going to take the kids, Tim's kids. We'll go to the beach for a week. It's school holidays. We're going to go overseas for a week and have some sunshine and relax. Then I'm going to put my big girl pants on and find something, because I think, is this the end of journalism for me? Is it the start of something new? And I thought, I just need to have a bit of a breather.
Your big girl pants or your nappies, maybe.
Get my nappies.
It is a big step.
Can we talk about some of the behind-the-scenes or bonkers moments that you both have had over morning TV over the years? Is there anything you want to share about some of those memories that... I know it's quite hard to come up with them.
Perhaps that you were involved in on air in your time in AM, particular standout moments.
So I was thinking about this morning, and you will remember this, Mel, the fundraiser that we did for the flood victims, which sort of started as just a naff thing that we would, and we were trying to, and we had some big fundraising banner that was quite phallic shaped.
Yes, it was.
I do remember that.
Pieces of A4 stuck together with sellotape.
And it was like, here's $1,000, $2,000, whatever. And we were talking to these people whose lives had just been turned upside down. And we were trying to just do something. And then we ended up raising $500,000. And it was unreal, And those are the days that you think, wow, what an amazing show, what an amazing thing to have been part of. And yeah, my overwhelming feeling today is just lucky and grateful. I'm lucky that I got to be a part of it, and I'm grateful that it happened.
And on those days too, it always astounds me how much generosity there is out there from people watching this show. We were seeing that just tick up and up and up, and it was all of you watching who were giving so generously, and yeah, it always blows me away how those things run.
Amanda, you must have some fantastic stories and memories.
Oh, look, it's the laughter. And you'll know, it's the uncontrollable laughter. You'll get up at 3 a.m, you're beside yourself, you're tired, and it's the little things that will just trigger you. And it's the fun. And that's what I look back on. Gosh, we did a piece this week for Newshub, and I said it's the glorious moments, the tough moments, the heartache, but also the ache of the cheeks from the uncontrollable laughter. And you had that, and I look back on it and I smile, and I will always look back on this time with fondness. And you do your March 15s, and it was so deep, but the country came together, and you were so inspired by that. And you had lockdown we went through, and that was tough. For God's sake, I worked with Duncan and Mark. There were some moments, but you loved each other like family, and I still feel that way. And so there's never been regrets. And I've loved the audiences. I've loved the feedback, good and bad. I've loved chatting to you in the streets, and it's been a wild ride. And my heart breaks today that this is closing, because I know so many people want it to continue. I know so many people want to wake up with you two again on Monday morning. And so it sucks it's not going to happen, but I'm so grateful, like you, Ryan. And, we had some very funny, wildly inappropriate moments.
We've seen some of them already this morning. Yeah.
And it's a ride.
You mentioned feedback there. I just want to read you this email from Gurup. Hi, my name's Gurup. I'm 11 years old. My dad watches your show every morning. I've hijacked his email address. There you go. I love the dresses and laugh at the show. I'll still remember when I was little and I tried to copy Amanda. I will always remember this show as she was part of my childhood. So, look, you know, people grow up watching you and having you on the show. And you do have this amazing warmth about you and naughtiness as well, which
and the sparkly dresses as well.
Everyone just saw me this morning and was like, of course you've worn that.
That's an Amanda dress.
So I was like, has anyone seen Amanda?
I literally go out with a bag. I know, but I thought, why not?
For the party later.
I am going to be there twerking and having fun.
And also, I just want to shout out, while we've got you two, to all of the other former AM hosts who've been such a big part of building this show up to the success that it has been. There are many of them that are still working mornings, like Duncan and Ingrid. Jim's busy, so yeah, we want to shout out to you.
Mark's busy. Mark, he was meant to come in, but he couldn't this morning.
We were hoping to have him here for one last fling, but he's got work stuff, so yeah.
He's a businessman.
Yeah,
Mark.
he's making money.
He is. It's quite strange thinking of him as a businessman.
Yeah.
Like quite a corporate.
No, he gets on the bus every morning. He gets his suit on and he gets on a bus and he goes to work.
No, he doesn't get on the bus, does he?
He does.
He gets on a bus?
He does.
He hates buses.
Hold on, he doesn't want to pay for parking.
Exactly.
So this makes sense.
Wow, I did not think of him as a public transport.
And he said to us, it's for money things. It's not because I'm doing anything to save the planet.
Yeah.
Like he's so...
Nothing about climate change.
Yeah.
At Today FM would bring his big Ford, I think he had like a Ford Ranger or something, and it was this biggest behemoth, or Ford Everest or whatever it was, and it would block like 3 car parks, so no one else could actually get in and out. It was the biggest scandal, and that's kind of, anyway.
That's him to a T. Now, what are you two doing? Talk us through. We've talked about us. What are you guys doing?
I've followed in Ryan's footsteps his entire career and my entire career, replaced him in the gallery at Radio Live, replaced him on the drive host at Magic Talk, replaced him here on AM, so I'll probably end up replacing him at ZB, because I just follow him. I just copy everything he does.
I like it. And Mel, you're doing me.
Yeah, well, I have a few decisions to make, and I need some time to sleep and spend some time with my beautiful children before I can be in a headspace to decide what is the best course for me. But also some very exciting projects that I'm very much looking forward to.
Nice. Sounds good.
Oh, some exciting projects.
Well, yeah, little seeds of ideas that...
Are you talking like as in work, or are you talking like renovations?
Oh, renovations. Since when is renovating exciting?
I don't know. I just thought you might have just changed a little bit and were like, oh, DIY, I love it.
Actually, I probably will be watching some renovation in the morning on TV3 from next week.
Yeah. Can I just very quickly say to everybody that Mel, you've just been an absolute stalwart now, but champion of this show from the get-go, and you get up earlier than everybody else. You've got kids, you've got a family, you've got all of that stuff to worry about, and you come in here and you never complain, and you're always positive, and I just think the audience clearly loves you, and with good reason. Nice. So thank you.
You're just trying to make me cry here.
Nah.
No, that's very sweet.
Yeah.
Keep going. I mean, he's absolutely right. I don't know how you do it, to be honest.
I don't know how you do it.
You're always the peacemaker as well. Everyone else has got dramas. It's like Mel's just the calming presence amongst everyone else.
Like the beautiful fairy godmother that just comes
You're
in.
kind of like that too, in a way, Amanda.
Just a little sassy.
Yeah, but I don't think Amanda gives you the telling offs in the break about your language.
No. She doesn't, like, Amanda doesn't have the look where it's like, oh my goodness, my soul has just melted because Mel's given me that other look.
It was Ryan Bridge and Amanda Gillies. I don't think we actually have to say who you are. People will be very familiar with you both. Thanks for joining us on the couch one last time.
And all the best for everything you do. Thanks for being part of New Zealand TV history. Coming up, the All Blacks, they go head-to-head against England tomorrow. We've got Rick from Sports Cafe with us to give us the big take on the big game.
No mai, haere mai, it is Friday the 5th of July. You're watching AM. It's great to have you with us on our final day. Coming up, you may remember Rick Salizzo from the Sports Cafe. Well, he is with us here in the studio to give his take on the All Blacks ahead of their big game against England tomorrow.
And as part of our final show celebrations, our correspondents from the UK, from the US and Australia, they are here in the studio. We've got Lisa Raymer, Mitch McCann and Emma Cropper. They join us in 20 minutes. Right now, though, here's Michael with your news.
Atamari, it's 8 o'clock. With the UK elections set to close in less than an hour's time, earlier polls suggest big changes are to come for Britain's political landscape. The Conservatives, led by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, have been in power for 14 years now. However, it seems it might be about to end, as the Labour Party are sitting comfortably well ahead in the preview polls. FSN reporter Ollie Barrett says while we won't see the official results for another couple of hours, early indications show the UK may get a new leader, Sir Keir Starmer.
He has repositioned the Labour Party further towards the centre ground. That's been his whole mission since he took over the leadership of the Labour Party from Jeremy Corbyn, who was much further to the left. And he wanted to do that because he thought that you couldn't win an election for the Labour Party without positioning it in the centre ground. So in many ways, he's not that different from the Conservatives.
The Education Minister claims Aotearoa's screen time guidelines in schools are far behind the rest of the world. It comes after a new report in the New Zealand Medical Journal highlighted how Kiwi children have some of the highest rates of screen use, causing concerns of poor mental and physical health outcomes. Erica Stanford says she's already been getting ideas from places like Singapore on what could be rolled out here.
I think it'll be really interesting for us to take a really good look at it and then talk to the sector and together come up with some guidelines for schools to, to reduce some of that screen time, especially in the very early years where it can be so damaging.
ASB has made a change to its official cash rate outlook, tipping it to fall this November. New Zealand has been weathering the storm of the cost of living crisis with a relatively strong labour market. However, ASB's chief economist Nick Tuffley believes the tides are turning.
We're hopeful that the Reserve Bank will actually cut interest rates before the end of the year and give people a little bit of early Christmas cheer, and that will start that gradual unwinding of the pressure that so many people with a mortgage are facing.
Police are searching for a person believed to have gone missing in the bush north of Wellington. Police received a report late last night that the individual hadn't returned home after entering the bush outside of Carterton. He was last seen at 9:30 on Wednesday morning, with family alerting police to his disappearance at about 10 last night. His car was found near Mangatarere Valley Road, and Landon Search and Rescue will join the operation at first light. Right, to sport now, and top seed Iga Swiatek has this morning reached the third round of Wimbledon with a tenacious straight sets win on centre court. The Polish world number one struggled in the early games but broke her Croatian opponent's serve late in both sets to win 6-4, 6-3. At just 23 years old, she is the tournament favourite but is only putting pressure on herself to do better than her quarter-final finish last year.
I have different challenges here and I'm focusing on them and not on statistics. I want to get better here at grass, so that's my main goal, and I don't feel like, I need to prove anything.
In other results, Novak Djokovic has struggled but survived a wild card scare to advance to the next round of Wimbledon, winning in 4 sets. The New Zealand Breakers have appointed their new head coach since the departure of Mody Maor. Petteri Koponen will take the lead role and joins the club following a stint in the NBA Summer League as assistant coach with the San Antonio Spurs. He's also had a successful coaching career in Europe, including 2 years in the EuroLeague. And the Franklin Bulls have bounced back to beat the Hawke's Bay Hawks and be within touching distance of a home playoff. Up 51-46 at half-time, the Bulls grew in accuracy over the second spell, with Luther Muhammad putting in 30 points. The Bulls sit 5th on the ladder with 1 regular season game remaining. A 4th place finish would see them lock in a home playoff. And that's the very latest from Newshub. It's 4 minutes after 8.
Thank you, Michael. So we did mention earlier the poem that a viewer had written in, and yeah, it was, Andrea, you had put a lot of work into that poem, so we're just going to read a little snippet of it. This is the end of that poem. So a great big thank you to you all and your wonderful behind the scenes team for brightening up all of our mornings, from serious to silly and all in between. Now, as the curtains fall on this cherished team, I say farewell, a bitter adieu, and cherish the memories of laughter and good cheer that was beamed into my lounge by all of you. Very nice.
That is a beautiful wee poem. And there's so many lovely messages that are coming through here as well. Michelle says she's watched us from the beginning, been lucky to have my entire family feature on your show. In recent times, my mum for the Royal Jubilee for Queen Elizabeth at her village, and more recently the King's coronation as well. You reach everyone, took the time for everyone, and always made everyone smile. I think that's you actually, Mel, because you would have done that, because you're always like that with guests. I've seen you interview people, which is awesome. Michael, just want to pass on a quick message expressing my thanks to New Zealand's finest morning show over the years. During the good times and bad times across the nation, I choose to tune into you guys, the AM show, Newshub, and 3. I'm gutted that today is your last show. That is from Michael.
He's taken the morning off work to make sure he watches all of the show. We really appreciate that, Michael.
Lee does say, crack a bottle of bubbles, come on, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of time for that. Don't you worry, Lee, the day is young.
We really appreciate all of these messages. We are reading all of them, even though we might not be able to get to say all of them on air. And soon we're going to welcome in a lot of the sponsors, a lot of the regular panellists that you've seen on the show, a lot of our good supporters into the studio, and take this thing to the end, I guess. 8:06, let's have a look at your weather.
The weather, brought to you by nature. Turn it to power by Meridian.
A ridge of high-pressure blankets most of Aotearoa today, bringing clear skies for many. So a cold morning for the deep south. Cloud and showers develop this afternoon, with Ōtepoti Dunedin warming to a high of 12 degrees. Cloud increases in the morning for the west coast of Te Waipounamu, the South Island. Scattered showers possible too, with Hokitika and Greymouth getting to 10. Across the other side of the island, severe frosts for the Canterbury region this morning, but it should be a fine day with light winds. Highs of 10 for Ashburton, Timaru and Christchurch. A cold morning for the bottom of Te Ika-a-Maui, the North Island. Maybe the odd shower for Te Papaioa, Palmerston North. Highs of 12 here also. The grass will be crunchy underfoot this morning with cold overnight lows, but it'll be mostly sunny during the day. Ngā Motu, New Plymouth, 13 degrees. And it's a fine day on the other side of the North Island. Showers for most of the day for Turanganui, Kiwa, Gisborne though. A high of 14 for Ahuriri, Napier. And the top of the country is also fine. Morning frosts for sheltered places. Cloud and showers could arrive this evening, with Tāmaki Makaurau, Auckland reaching a high of 13 degrees. All right, to your weekend weather now, and on Rahoroi Saturday, showers become widespread for most of the country, clearing for some later in the day. Then on Rātapu Sunday, it's mainly fine apart from some showers in the deep south and Manawatu.
Thank you very much for that, Michael. Coming up, the All Blacks take on England tomorrow night in Dunedin at that glorious stadium down there. Rick Salizzo breaks down his predictions for us next.
AM, fueled by Wild Bean Cafe.
Past 8, you're watching AM. Thank you to our partner, Wild Bean Cafe. Incoming All Blacks coach Scott Robertson has had to make some tough decisions ahead of the opening test against England in this year. First-time captain Scott Barrett will lead the team, which doesn't include one of his brothers in the starting lineup. Who better to talk about this weekend's action but a blast from the past? Sports Cafe's Rick Salizzo, now host of the Sports Cafe-ish podcast, which we'll get to in a minute. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, I blast from the past. It's like we just grabbed Rick from the museum.
You'll remember him.
Yeah.
Can we just start quickly on the All Blacks?
You put me in black and white. It's just a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, that's how people will recognise you. If we can start on the All Blacks, it is quite a big decision for them to make, right? To leave Bowden out of the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think they look really closely at cohesion about who's played together and all that sort of stuff. And then I think the other thing they're taking into account is Bodie has been in Japan, so he hasn't played Super Rugby. Same with Ardie, so having two guys out there that haven't played. You've got a couple of locks who've had some injuries and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think they want to look at Perifeta, see what he's like. They know what Bodie's like. I think it's really exciting because England are good. Like this is not a half-assed England team that they've sent down while the rest of them were staying on holiday. This is a good team. They've had a game against Japan. They're up for this game. They've come down to win. And we've got, Razor's first game. He's a unique man. He's an incredible human being. And I'm really excited because no one. You want to know what's going to happen? I've got no idea. So that's a good guess.
Glad we got you on the case.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining that.
Do you think there's a bit of pressure on Razor to get this team selection right and to get some good results that get that momentum going for the team? Or do you think people are a bit understanding of, he's just getting his feet under the table?
I would never call the New Zealand rugby public understanding. I'm not sure that's a term I'd use. I think the reality is it's going to take him time. Like any new job, as good as he is, this is going to be different for him. He hasn't done this before, even though he's been an All Black. But when you're the All Black coach, you don't get given the gift of time. You have to win every week, and so it's going to be it's going to be interesting.
Okay, so let's go back in time a little bit, because you will know about the final show of a TV show, and you guys really went out with a bang, literally broke the setup.
Yeah.
Is that something you would recommend?
I don't know. I don't think you've got as many drunk hosts as I did. So So
that can be arranged.
But the worst thing is, I was okay with it because it was 2005. I didn't want to do the show anymore, so I let them go. They destroyed the set, and then we got a call from the networks in 2008 wanting us to come back. So, oh man, we have to build a new set because it's
gone.
Yeah, so we came back. Yeah.
Do you have control of the host now that they're on the Sports Cafe-ish podcast? No. So why did you want to do it?
So I'm not sure. I caught up with Mark at the World Cup, at the Rugby World Cup, and then when I got back from being overseas, I caught up with Lee, and they're just great people, and I really enjoy their company, and I sort of thought, why don't we just have fun once a week and do something? And, it is hard to get shows on the air. So I was like, as you know. So I thought, well, we'll just do our own thing. And we do it as a podcast, but we also do it as a YouTube show. And we're getting really good audiences. And it just shows now that you can talk directly to the audience, which is really good fun. And I loved, Macca said to me, oh, this is going to be awesome. No rules, we can do what we like. I was like, well, what rules were there when we did Sports Cafe?
Yes, definitely follow those.
Yeah, he's ticked all those boxes. So it's been really fun. We've done 2 so far. And a lot of the talk has been about how fat I am and how much I look like a dugong. But apart from that...
you'd think on a podcast you'd be free of that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You give us the video too. It's very, very entertaining.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. And it is... Look, at the end of the day, it's like what you guys do here. There's nothing better than just getting together and having fun and filming it. It's the easiest job in the world. What do? I just go and have a bit of fun and someone puts a camera on it. So that's sort of been my career.
Yeah, well, we have very much enjoyed doing that too. That is host of the Sports Cafe-ish podcast, Rick Salizzo. Thanks for your time.
Just ahead, what's it like to report from a war zone or after Trump at a rally? We catch up with our foreign correspondent, some of the best in the biz, right here on The Couch.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on AM this morning. You're looking at a live shot of New Plymouth. What a stunner. High of 13, a low of 7. Fine with morning frost. It's taking 9 minutes from Bell Block into the city and 18 minutes from Orkuda. Traffic updates thanks to our partner Battery Zone, your local battery expert. And I just want to take you to another shot in the newsroom. These wonderful people here are some of the very special people that we've had through the years on our show. We've got regular panellists, we've got team members, we've got a 10-week-old baby. She is the star of the show. That's Megan from Integration's Little Bubs. And yeah, lots of people that are very special to us, so thank you for coming in and sharing this morning.
I can't see any champagne there yet, but hopefully that'll change in a tick. Thanks for that, Mel. Our next guests, they're usually on either the other side of the world or the other side of the Tasman, and between them they've reported on conflicts and from war zones, terrorist attacks, major political rallies, upheavals and natural disasters. The front seat to world history. But today they're all here with us. We've got Europe correspondent Lisette Raymer, the US correspondent Mitch McCann and Australia correspondent Emma Cropper. Wow, that is some talent right there on the couch. When was the last time you were all together?
like 2 years?
3, I reckon.
3 years.
3, yeah.
But do you
3.5
talk
years.
quite frequently about coordinating your outfits?
Yeah.
She organises it. Mitch's group stylist, he
Yeah.
organises it.
That's good. We are in probably constant contact most days over the last 3 years anyway, so.
It
But it is
doesn't
nice.
feel like 3 years, to be fair.
Yeah.
All the FaceTimes.
Yeah.
And you've only just recently come back into the country, all 3 years.
Yeah, I came in on, I don't even know what date it is right now.
Yeah, what are days?
Like Wednesday.
Like that's
Yeah.
just correspondent life, to be fair. You're awake when the sun is up, or maybe you're not even. Sometimes you just sleep when you can.
Yeah.
Just roll with whatever.
Mitch, you're the sort of newest correspondent out of the
And it
three
shows.
I knew this was going to happen.
Any advice you would like from?
Yeah. Don't talk to them.
Well, and you're no longer the US correspondent because you've moved on. But what's it been like over in the US? Because you're the inaugural, our first ever US correspondent, our only Newshub's only ever US
first and last.
correspondent.
Yeah.
The first and last. Don't take it personally.
It wasn't anything to do with you, though. Just let's point that out.
Bad it was.
But you've covered some pretty meaty stories, some sad stories, some interesting stories. You know, the Baltimore Bridge collapse. You were with us that morning that happened.
Yeah.
Some big stories.
Yeah, it has been amazing. I think the one sort of group of stories that will stick with me is Donald Trump and Joe Biden. You know, it's something we've been watching for the last sort of 8 to 10 years. It's been amazing. And just to be at a sort of front seat of that, I remember my first Donald Trump rally, sort of like an explosion to the senses. I think I described it on this show as like a AMP show on steroids. And then I read that back and I said, I should have said something way more like smarter. But that's what it was like. So it's been amazing. And I think talking to you guys every week, we were talking about it in the car this morning, has been like the highlight of the week because it's your kind of connection to home and your friends and family. And you hear from people that you haven't heard of in a long time. And it's just this sort of highlight of the week.
It's like also just hearing the New Zealand accent sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you're in these crazy places, sometimes feeling a little bit isolated, and you just always know you're going to have that one connection, like an invisible string to New Zealand AM, and then of course the 6 o'clock crosses. But it is like so special to always be able to touch base with not just you guys, but know that you're joined by all the New Zealanders.
In terms, I mean, we could go through and get memorable stories, but you know, what are some of the stuff that has gone on behind the scenes that we haven't seen? Some of those moments that you will always remember.
Us less said about this.
Yeah, like let's start with you, because you know.
The producers said to us, you know, we want to hear about when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, where do I start? And Mitch was like, I've got nothing.
And we were like, what are you, perfect?
Yeah. Must be hard being the golden child. But things go wrong all the time. I mean, you guys know that, like disaster. I mean,
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and how you handle it with such grace is what we've learned from. I mean, gosh, I've got like crazy. I just recently had Mitch told me not to tell this story, but I recently had a suspected case of dengue fever, which reared its head right before a life cross, and it almost was catastrophic. Let's just say that.
Read its turtle head.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I like you had the shits on telly.
Okay, here comes the clarification we didn't need.
No, but I don't know the symptoms of dengue fever.
She'll tell you.
That's it really.
Oh, that would have been great
Lightning
TV.
Roberts in my ear, outside Westminster, in the bushes.
A little emergency defecation situation
Did you
sneaking
actually?
up on you.
I mean,
Did you actually defecate?
It was an emergency situation.
He's set. That's a great story.
2 minutes to you.
Okay.
Well.
Wow. Have you,
Goodness. Emma, how do you follow that?
Have you shut out stuff?
Tell me not to tell the story.
No, that's a good story. So that's the stuff we want to hear, though, because you know we're all normal, we're all human, we all
We've
suffer
all had
from
dengue fever.
Yeah, we've all shit in the bush outside.
Have you ever shit outside Parliament?
Wow.
Excuse me.
And that's
I'm going to apologise on behalf of everybody for the language here.
Have you?
No, not yet. Yeah.
Hey, that's surprising.
Yeah.
It's quite surprising, given.
I thought anyone was going to shit their pants.
I'm very sorry.
Emma, what are some of your memorable moments, maybe off-camera type stuff?
I don't know.
I think
stories? It's just, I guess, I sort of work on my own over in Australia, so it's always trying to get something out. There's a lot of technical issues. I think one time I went all the way to Townsville and got there had my camera and I had no batteries. And then I was like, oh no. So you're just filming the head of the New Zealand Army on my iPhone because I'm like, oh my God. So anything like that, you're just behind the scenes. It's crazy, but we make do.
And no one would ever know.
No one would ever know, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to miss the delay that we have with Australia. It's like a 5-second delay that we've got with Channel 7 over there, isn't it? Whereas with you guys who are way further away, there's hardly any delay.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? The places you can beam into.
Yeah, I mean, isn't poo chat just way more exciting than this type of chat?
Yeah. I'm glad I learned that.
I think we know a little, but for those viewers who don't quite know what you're moving on to, do you want to each just say where people will be able to see you or what you have planned, what's coming next?
So I've started, as you guys know, with agency in the US, so we're going to stay on there, and basically doing live crosses per hire, so different countries. I think when I spoke to you guys on Tuesday or Wednesday, I just done one in India and then did one in China after you guys. So it's it's quite random, but it's cool. So it's an opportunity to keep reporting. Yeah.
You working by yourself, like a VJ?
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do miss that. I'm going to miss this.
Yeah.
Highlight of the week. Yeah.
That is tough. What about you, Cropper?
Well, I've been lucky for the past few years. I've been working in the Channel 7 newsroom, so I'm going to stay in there and do some producing work and behind the scenes and, stay on.
Great.
Oh, so we've lost you to Australia.
Becoming an Aussie citizen at the end of the year.
Are you actually?
Yeah, I am. I can do. So I'm there full Aussie.
Why are we clapping that?
Yeah, that's not to clap.
Yeah, that's not right.
No.
Oh, so we've lost you. We've lost a
I'll be back. I won't stay.
I hope so. Oh, congratulations on that. That's really cool.
I'll be on the phone to her every day telling her to come home to New Zealand.
Yeah, she is starting to sound like an Australian.
I know.
Today. Yeah. Lisette, what are you up to?
Yeah, I'm moving home, which is crazy, to Auckland, New Zealand. I'm going to work on the new stuff bulletin, which is super exciting. So big changes ahead. I'm going to go and have a holiday in the summer first, get a tan, and then come home.
Well, we're very lucky that we're still going to be having your stories. You're all master storytellers, but you're also thoroughly decent people. And we've really enjoyed being able to catch up with you each week on the show. You've been a huge part of it, and I'm sure the viewers will miss you too.
You are. You guys are actually seriously good correspondents. Like, we've both been correspondents, and watching you guys flourish and grow and do such epic work it's made me very proud.
I think we get a round of applause in the studio. Yes.
A huge motivator, I know for myself, and I'm sure for you guys, has been to add to the legacy that you guys have led. You know, you left behind an incredible standard when you left your posts, especially for me, a lot of pressure. But yeah, that has been a big part of it, is making you guys proud. So I'm happy to hear we did.
Yeah, I think one of the best things is that people have probably worked it out watching, but you know, we're all kind of good friends outside of this. So it's not just weekly catching up with Lloyd and Mal, whoever's on. It's like catching up with actual friends, and some of the chats before we go on could never be broadcast.
Well, we're about to. We're actually about to. There will be some little bit broadcast a little bit later,
But thank you for the connection you've given us back to you, our colleagues, our friends, and our family, because it's been sort of invaluable being by ourselves overseas. So thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much. You guys have raised the bar, and you should be super proud, because you are Newshub's last ever correspondents overseas. Thank you very much for coming in. It's been awesome. That is Europe correspondent Lisette Raymer, US correspondent Mitch McCann, and Australia correspondent Emma Cropper. It's now time for the news. Here's Michael.
Atamari, it's 8:30. With the UK election set to close in less than an hour, earlier polls suggest big changes are to come for the British political landscape. The Conservatives, led by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, have been in power for 14 years now. However, it seems it might be about to end, as the Labour Party is sitting comfortably well ahead in the polls. FSN reporter Ollie Barrett says while we won't see the results for another hour or less than an hour, as soon as the voting doors close at 9 a.m. New Zealand time, an exit poll will give a rough idea about what's to come.
Because exit polls here in Britain have actually been pretty accurate in recent years. The Boris Johnson election of 2019, they were just a few seats out. So if at 10 p.m. we get the sense from the exit poll that a large Labour majority is on the cards, that is probably the direction in which we are heading.
People remain unaccounted for following a house fire in Fiordland on Thursday morning. One person died in the Manapoti blaze, which crews responded to just after 3:30. It's unclear how many people may have been at the property, but police say inquiries are ongoing to locate them. An investigation into what caused the blaze continues. The Education Minister claims she's planning to come up with some guidelines to limit screen time in schools, as a new report highlights just how excessive use in New Zealand is. The report published in the New Zealand Medical Journal highlighted how Kiwi children have some of the highest rates of screen use, causing concerns of poor mental and physical health outcomes. Erica Stanford says she's already been getting ideas from places like Singapore on what could be rolled out here.
How much are we using screens, but importantly, what are we using screens for? And I'd sort of think, at ECE, especially for those under twos, in my personal opinion, there's no place for that. And I know, like in Singapore, for example, they have guidelines around that.
Police are searching for a person believed to have gone missing in bush north of Wellington. Police received a report late last night that the individual hadn't returned home after entering the bush outside of Carterton. He was last seen at 9:30 on Wednesday morning, with family alerting police to his disappearance at about 10 last night. His car was found near Mangatarere Valley Road, and Land Search and Rescue will join the operation at first light. Right, to sport now, and the Baby Blacks have claimed a dramatic victory over three-time defending champions France at the Under-20 Rugby World Cup this morning. After trailing 11-0 at half-time and losing a player to the sin bin, the Kiwis came from behind, and first five Rico Simpson kicked New Zealand to a 27-26 win. But it was initially denied as the assistant referees didn't put up their flags. The TMO had to later confirm that the ball didn't slot through the goal to hand the Kiwis the win.
Some massive confusion, but the kick is good, and New Zealand win a last-minute penalty.
Their last kick, what a thriller. Goes to show it took the full 80 to really get back into this game.
And the Rabbitohs have continued their mid-season revival with a 32-16 win over Parramatta and record their fifth straight victory to jump ahead of the Warriors on the ladder. Fresh off me? Come on, yeah. Finally, there may not be any Joey Chestnut at this year's Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. However, the competition was still hot. Banned because he endorsed vegan hot dogs, Chestnut watched on as Eric Badland's Booker won the famous lemonade chug, where contestants are asked to finish an entire gallon of lemonade. While others at the table took breaks for air, Booker downed it in 21 seconds, setting a new record for the event. It's a bit like Sam Smith eating all the food here. And that's the latest from Newshub. It's 25 minutes.
And a stand-up round of applause for Michael.
Wow.
Because
that's your last bulletin.
That was hard.
Well done, mate.
Not only is that Michael's last bulletin, but look at the conditions he is working in. We've got some wonderful long-time sponsors, Rosine, have sent in some chockies, and we've got some treats there from Wellbeing Cafe as well, with lots of our people that are very special to us. So enjoy, and yeah, well done, Michael. You're absolute pro. This is actually probably not the most pressure you've been under. There have been times when whole scripts have gone, and you have just handled that like a pro.
Learn from the best, Mel. Thanks.
And I want to say too, obviously our behind the scenes team are actually still working right now, so not all of them can join us in the studio. Now that we have had the last bulletin with Michael, are going to have their names play at the bottom there in the ticker. Oh God, here I am, yes, now I was talking about the team, because they are amazing, and we want to acknowledge each and every single one of them. So the names you see underneath are those people that have made this show what it is.
They are the best in the business as well, and they're the ones that their job is to make us look good. And so often, well, so
doesn't
often
always work.
So often I undo all of their good work by saying, but I end up talking about poos, with our foreign correspondents, I'm sorry. But they're absolute troopers, absolute professionals, and we're working right until the very end. And it's annoying that you can't see them because, the AR system that we've got here means that they're just hidden by digital graphics. But they're legends, and you'll see their names pop up, which is pretty awesome. Now, you might have done your last bulletin, Michael, but you've still got to take us through the weather, so let's have a look at that.
The weather, brought to you by Nature. Turn it to power by Meridian.
a ridge of high-pressure blankets most of Aotearoa today, bringing clear skies for many. So a cold morning for the bottom of the country. Cloud and showers develop this afternoon, with Pāhunu, Queenstown reaching a high of 8 degrees in Ōtepoti, Dunedin warming to 12. Cloud increases in the morning for the west coast of Te Waipounamu, the South Island. Scattered showers possible too, with the Milford Sound getting to 9 degrees. Severe frosts for the Canterbury region this morning, but a fine day with light winds, highs of 10 for Christchurch, Ashburton and Timaru. A cold morning for the bottom of Te Ika-Maui, the North Island, maybe the odd shower for Te Papaioa, Palmerston North, and a high of 12 degrees for everyone here. Further north in the grass will be crunchy underfoot this morning, with Taupo and Waiōuru with overnight lows of -1 and -3, but should warm to a warm 7 for Waiōuru. To find out on the other side of the North Island, showers for most of the day for Turanganui, Kiwa, Gisborne, a high of 12 degrees for you. Rotorua 11. And the top of the country is fine. Morning frosts for sheltered places. Cloud and showers could arrive this evening, with Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland's high being 13 degrees. Right, to your weekend weather now, and on Rahoroi Saturday, showers become widespread for most of the country, clearing for some later in the day. Then Rātapu Sunday, it's mainly fine apart from some showers in the deep south and the Manawatu.
Thank you, Michael. Coming up, some special words from our presenters here. We hear from Michael, William and Nikki next.
Wake up to a brand new kind of morning. On radio, on TV, online. It's the AM Show.
Kia ora, welcome back to AM. It is 80 minutes away from 9 o'clock, and it's getting to that time in which we've got to start saying goodbye. It's that time of the show. So yeah, we've got 18 minutes of the show left, and we're all going to say a little farewell. And I'm going to throw it to Michael, who's going to kick things off. Michael.
Thanks, Lloyd. Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone, particularly on AM. It has been an amazing journey. I've done things I've always wanted to do, like be a merman, be called eye candy, all on live TV, like interview my brother. There have been so many amazing memories. But I guess, as everyone has sort of said today, the overwhelming emotion for me is gratitude. I'm so grateful to have been afforded this opportunity, and honestly an opportunity I never really felt like I deserved, but like one I've never taken for granted. I'm grateful to you at home to be a part of your daily routine as you wake up in the morning. I'm grateful to have worked with some of the best colleagues and, quite frankly, people in general, both in front of the camera here and behind the camera. Tēnā koutou katoa. Just finally, yeah, shout out to my family. I first started working on AM with 2 babies. I now have 3. So holding down the fort when everyone's crying, when I've gapped it at 3 a.m. in the morning, is Lex. So a massive thanks to her. Thanks to my mum for your support too. And to my kids, hopefully I won't be so grumpy at you in the afternoon too.
That was absolutely lovely. Thanks, Michael. William.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous actually. I usually like to have a bit of a laugh and that, but I've actually just wanted to say thank you for everyone here, especially all the people who set me up, because I'm actually a bit of a pain, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm very off the cuff, and this is off the cuff. Everyone had to write something. I just said, I'd come in and say something off the cuff. So I just want to thank everyone at AM and taking a chance on me, because I'm very much a wildcat. And yeah, just for the people that I've met and they've invited me into their homes and getting to share their stories. Yeah, my cameraman, Leon, he's been with me, and a couple of the other guys, but me and him spend a lot of time together going around the motu, as I'd say, around the motu, and sharing the stories that, you know, the weird, funky and beautiful, I guess, the charity stories as well. Yeah, my partner as well, she has to deal with me being away for 1 to 4 days a week, so she probably likes it, to be honest. Me be away, but I actually woke up this morning, she had a big, like a photo there for me, and a ring with around the motu actually on the inside of the ring.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, some biscuits and stuff. So yeah, but just a massive thank you for to everybody out there. All I wanted to do was bring a bit of fun. I know the news is pretty serious, and I just wanted to make you laugh. Yeah, at home. So thanks so much. And I want to finish with that actually. Yes. Happy Friday and finish strong. Thank you.
Wow, it's kind of intimidating seeing that in the flesh, to be honest, and quite close up. Yeah, I like the onomatopoeia and the photosynthesis in there. Nikki.
Right, I'm going to be the idiot that cries probably. I started off as a fill-in. Keep filling in, and they kept filling in, and they kept filling in, and this is, it's become a really big part of my life. I've been thinking long and hard about what to say, and I guess the one thing that I kept coming back to was thank you, because it's been an absolute privilege to be part of this AM show. Thank you for trusting me with your special stories to deliver your news with urgency and sensitivity, mostly. Thank you for making me laugh, and thank you for at times making me cry. And thank you to our entire team for being such awesome humans. I've been surrounded by talented professionals who have helped me grow as a journalist and as a broadcaster. Not a day has gone by where I have not wanted to come to work, and that's because this is not a job. It's a family. It's a special family. The alarm is bloody brutal and the hours are demanding, but the rewards are absolutely immense. There are times we've laughed so hard that our faces hurt and times when we've been just a little bit inappropriate and waited nervously to be told off. But we've always been unashamedly real, and with the knowledge that we're bringing some joy and debate and vital information to the ones who matter out there, and that is you, our audience. Today feels really sad. We'll miss all of this, but hopefully one day, in some form or another, we will be back. Until, thank you.
Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks so much for that, Nikki.
Up next, Lloyd and I have some final words before we look back on the funniest moments on AM this year. We'll be back soon.
Some days it feels like I don't want to go any farther. The only way I know to keep on is...
From July 6, join us for 3 News. We're delivering live and lively interactive coverage of the stories that you care about. 3 News starts Saturday, 6 p.m. on 3 Now and 3.
Hooky Minor, welcome back to AM. It is 9 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Now, I'm the newest member of this team, and I started this year with a whole lot of apprehension. Would I be seen as an imposter? Would I even be good at this job? Because I've never done anything like this in the studio before. Would everyone just keep asking, where's Ryan? But I needn't have worried, they didn't. The whole AM team, they welcomed me with open arms, and all of you watching did as well, and it's been a wonderful 5 months. But that's all it's been. It's just been 5 months, because this job that I've grown to love so much was kind of over before it even began, and that is a damn shame, because we're onto something pretty awesome here, and all of you would probably agree. You even email us today, well, every day, about this. I'm sorry that we couldn't save it. We tried, didn't we, Mal? We really did try. But I just want to thank a few people, my family, my friends, for putting up with my terrible hours, my resulting lack of a social life, and ending beers at 6:50 to go home to bed. I want to thank this awesome team as well. Mel, I want to thank you for carrying the show. Michael, for being perfect at everything. Nikki, for being fiercely opinionated. And William, for bringing the joy. And to all those who filled in as well, Amanda, Laura, Isabel, you guys are absolute legends. To the wonderful team and the crew behind the scenes, you're all awesome, you're all talented. Teamwork, it makes the dream work. But it is you who are watching that I want to thank the most. Thanks for giving us your time. Thanks for letting us into your lives, because I'm really going to miss you.
Yeah, we're going to finish soon on a high note, stuff that has made us smile, because there's been a lot of it. But first, I'm sorry if the lump in the throat gets the better of me. To our gutsy little team, it's been a tough year. Thank you so much. To our sponsors, supporters and viewers, thank you so much. This place has put me through several on-screen arranged marriages, and I'm lucky that I've ended up with some very best friends. Tom and the McRae family, we miss you, Tom, and your family's support to my family has meant the world. Ryan, you're a huge talent, and few people actually appreciate the extent of how clever you are, except maybe you. I mean that with love. I mean mean that with so much love. Lloyd, you are a genuine positive force. You are such an amazing, you have such an amazing impact on our team. And we've had so much fun. The time we've had together has been way too short.
It has been, agree.
But my biggest support and my cheerleader is my husband, Casper. I could not have done this without you. I love you so, so much. I do sometimes wonder how I even got here. I was just a self-conscious, shy kid who liked writing stories, and I accidentally got into telly. Now I'm going to show my beautiful babies, Busby and Mabel, how you pick yourself back up in life and you get on with something you care about, but not before we have some really lovely quiet time together as a family. I'm also thinking today of people who have lost their jobs in other industries, those of you who are facing tough times in your business, and those of you who are feeling lonely. We may be turning the lights out here, but we are still in this together. So hang in there for what is important to you, and thank you for being so important to us.
Out with the old and in with the new.
And of course, under a national government, if it doesn't work out, you can move them on after 90 days.
Love the water. He's not...
I think I'm going to go down there so you get a bit of movement. Oh, I think he's broken his neck.
Happy Valentine's Day. Look, we'll leave them to it.
Valentine's Day, New Zealand.
You catch all sorts of diseases at a Taylor Swift concert these days.
Dog doo-doo bins in her area.
You can't say poo, can you?
All cricketers are like that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm married. I started in rugby, moved to cricket.
Where are you going to end up?
Good question.
Lawn bowls. They've got the AM show on them.
Also, I'm wondering if we should swap sides, because I feel like I'm kind of blending into the background today.
I'll show it to you later
Pull it
if you
out
want.
later.
Yeah, I'll pull it out later. That sounded wrong.
Yeah, it did.
Please don't break dance anymore.
Lloyd Burr is at home at the moment with my 9-month-old.
Yummy, 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 yummy.
Sink in, mate. That's your car right there. Wow. Holy heck. Oh, Susie, get out. Oh,
I'm sorry.
You're a bit of a bombastic, really fun.
Hey, Daddy.
Oh, God. Not you, man.
Daddy need a cuddle.
And I just landed in a puddle.
Wow, shit. Life's not fair, is it?
You're off to do a bungee jump. Oh!
Hey!
Go, Emma!
Wow. Oh.
Oh, that's not good, eh?
I'm just so tickled by it all.
I think the best way to get a man's attention is to write a haiku, you know.
That's not bad.
Cut the crap, cut the drama, and get back to your tree.
Can I get a word in here? Because I barely got a word in this interview.
Mel's going to talk about sport now. I have no idea what about, but Mel, take it away.
Can I have a chicken royal?
Come on.
What would you like? Oh, a McMuffin? Okay.
Coming right up.
If you leave without paying, I'll find you and I will kill you.
Hot, delicious goods. That's not only me. I've actually never been close to a gun in my life.
Okay.
Except for these two right here. Look at the amount of real estate Lloyd Burr has taken up on the celebrity bench they're going to auction off.
Who's Lloyd Burr?
Hello, my name is Nikki Walker and I'm from Dunedin.
Yes! The rapper known as Eclipse.
In about an hour's time, this place will plunge into darkness and we might have some sort of spiritual awakening.
The onomatopoeia and the photosynthesis and that.
Onomatopoeia, you got a bit of photosynthesis.
Taste that onomatopoeia and photosynthesis, it's all there.
The onomatopoeia, the photosynthesis, it's all there.
Some people stand in the darkness.
Woo! Hey!
Lloyd, the team thought that maybe you'd be interested in learning how to line dance professionally.
I want to shack on the front seat, maybe make out in the back.
I'm going to be a nana again.
Oh.
I don't like this job. I don't want to read the news anymore. Leading your news, Lloyd is annoying.
Party in his head all the time.
Oh, he is too good.
I respect a big fat piece.
I just get in and do things quite fast. I don't have patience.
5:30.
Is there anything you want to say?
This is going to be a very bad performance review.
Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us on AM this morning. This is what I have to put up with on the desk.
Kate Roger. Woo!
Kate Roger.
Can I hold your lights up?
Absolutely. Ready for the power. There you go. Whoa, there it is.
Down you go. And go!
60,000 inseminations of this guy went out right around the country, so we'd expect somewhere in the vicinity of maybe 5,000 daughters to be born this coming spring.
Like, I am a robot, but actually... Darkest door.
I do think quinoa sandwiches is woke.
That is my next documentary, Patrick Gower on shrinkage.
This is the birthday girl. Hey, Mabel, look, you've got a cake.
Oh, you've got...
No!
Yeah,
well done.
Yeah, bang on. Yeah, I think I've got that there. Beautiful. Beautiful. You've done this before.
You know, bit of entertainment.
Can we just have a look, mate, how they... Oh, look at who's there!
Am I not that similar to Minge? Like, yeah, anyway.
So I can't take my eyes off this. This is too good.
Marcus can have it.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
I must try that.
There's not much thinking that goes on in there, is there?
We're talking farts, cow farts to be exact.
Oh, good morning. I didn't realise it was on me. 60. Anything that arises first.
While we're doing this, we'll get your weather forecast and then get the verdict on the sty.
We can check the anal glands if they're too full. We'll just give a little check to see if that's uncomfortable.
Who knew there were so many grannies in New Zealand looking to move into the backyard?
It's a bit wonky.
Yeah, oh, all right, Mr. Crayon.
Spit your water out now.
I swallow my water.
Have a look. What do you think that says? I was practicing my cursive handwriting.
So that was not the lesson I set for you, boys.
That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it.
Whenever you say next birdie.
Donkey hug.